All right. All right. It is Lil Tuesday. I'm gonna die. Not really. Is the thing? Yeah, the thing's going. What do we have today? What all do we have? We have quite a bit. There's no one here? God, are we gonna do Lore Tuesday with no one? When's the last day? 6th? There we go from the 6th. Well, the 7th, I guess. I think... Okay, yeah, we did everything on the 6th because I wanted to catch up. Okay, yeah, cool. Well, since no one is here, I guess we can get started. Oh, Truffle, Oliver, hello. I was like, there's no one here. I've been trying to, do some animating, or starting to animate something today. You know the trend? The, like, was it called looping rooms or whatever trend? I can show you an example. I'm probably gonna get copyright claimed for this. This thing? Anyway, I've been wanting to, Anyway, I've been wanting to make an animation of that, with that trend. Oh, sorry, hold on. I'll go back to starting soon. You see my private Discord server for a second. You had 3 ads? Hold on, I'm gonna check the ads thing. Hold on. They must have changed something, because I have ads off. Ads. Ads not scheduled. I turned them off. Maybe I just turn them on and turn it to the lowest thing? If I do... I could do 30 seconds of ads every hour. Because before I just turned it off, but if they're still showing, it only happens right before, so there's no other ads. It's just the pre-roll ads. What do you think? Okay, let me show you. Oh yeah, I gotta add, I gotta draw 2 more Crane Game things. Let me show you what I can have here. So, currently I have ads not scheduled. It's really complicated, because if I turn it on, I can have, like, ads per hour or whatever, and I get, like, more of a revenue increase or whatever if I let them pick everything, but then it's, like, 10 minutes of ads every hour or something ridiculous, because, you know, that's how they make money. Would you rather have shorter ads more often or longer ads less often? Because if I do... Why doesn't it let me change this? Okay, well, I guess I'll turn it, yeah, leave it as is. Okay, I'll just do that. Yeah, that's fine. All right, well, we're gonna get right into things. Ugh, move my legs so I can Ugh, I sit crisscross, kind of hurts my knee every time though. More long ads to make you money. See, the thing is, like, I think the most I made from ads, which I've always had it on the low setting to be fair, the most I made from ads is like $4 in a month. It's, I don't know if it's really worth it. If I turn it on really long, then I get like the 70% ad revenue share, so I'd probably make like 15, 20 bucks a month instead, but like, is it really worth it? Not really. Yeah. Anyway, we have an animation, I assume, from Strawberry here. Let's get into that. Oh, let me go to YouTube mode here. Wait, did we already see this? I think we did. We'll watch it again. Yeah, we did. I thumbs up it. She's back. She regrew all the hair she licked off of other people. Yeah, I think we did see that before. But we didn't see this. No, we did see this. This is Zenithra with Lux. But I don't think we saw this. So let's read this. Mission Divine Justice. The torrential rain. Wind. It howls, screeches. The night air is ripped apart. Branches pulled from trees, others topped completely, crackling as they tried to bear the weight of the wind, only to be felled. The rain falls sidelong and tears through the terrain. It floods across the rocks and raises rivers. It runs along the hills and across the hills in a forest, as if to create a river, dead in the middle of it. A branch is pulled into the stream, broken apart by the current. There's motion in these woods, beyond the fall of trees and the gusts of wind. Though all nature predicted the course of this storm and fled away in time, there is one who had no such luck, one who believed they could weather this. Balios pushes through swaying bamboo, even as the wind pushes it back against him. His strength is lowered by the effort it took to swim against the course of the river the storm had thrown him into. He doesn't know exactly where he is, he just knows it was the closest shore. The intention is to get back to the moon-touched kingdom, to defend it, but unknowingly he moves the opposite way from it. A cough. A pause. The water from the river that got into his lungs. He holds in place and tries to look around, but the wind and rain make something like a fog in the dense dark of night. The trees move still from the wind as if the very forest shifts to become a labyrinth purposefully made to entrap him in it. To some extent, he wouldn't be as surprised if it actually was. But thoughts are put to a halt. His right shoulder swings back, taking an impact, of what he cannot tell. There was a flash of some kind, like lightning, and now his shoulder burns, bleeds. His arm is going numb, like a nerve was hit or the bone was knocked out of socket by the impact. He sees his own blood on his hand when he pulls his hand away from where he had instinctively clutched his shoulder. Immediately alert, he raises his eyes to the sky, to the forest, in hopes to see something, a reason, explanation, something familiar or something not. There is nothing to see, nothing but the motion in the trees from the wind. Balios moves. On the off chance that it was the weather or someone actually attacking him, staying in one place would not be safe. Moon-touched kingdom, shelter. Then another impact. His left leg is swung out from underneath him. He catches himself by the hand that supported his shoulder. His knee, it's more painful than the shoulder. He shouts, screams into the wind, but the air catches it. It does not travel. The same flash of light, the same burning pain. It's intentional. He's quick to drag himself under the tree to his right, hands as much as they can grip at the vines to pull himself up into a standing position, something more defensive so he can draw his weapon, of chain and blade. There is still nothing. The forest grows eerily still, even in the wake of the storm. The wind has stopped howling, the rain suspended. In the sky, the clouds break in a way that shows the stars. He can only hear himself breathing. It takes minutes in that silence for him to settle, to feel that nothing further is coming, to stop and lower his blade so that he can look at his knee. It looks like a mini explosion hit it. He tries to put weight on that leg, and the pain immediately racks through him, like a shockwave. He grits his teeth and tries to suppress the pained sound. Something is still in here with him. Then he starts to hear the rain again. It beats down on the trees behind him. He sees it coming when he turns around. He ducks his head to brace against the rain it pulls to beat against him again. It's there he sees a flash of lightning. His eyes pull up to track it, and there, a figure. In the last second of light provided, he saw him. Flecks of blue on a background of deep green, high up in a tree, supported on the branches. The dark mass of a long, single-barreled rifle. The larger, rounded shape of a tank. Waters. Waters. Balios pushes himself off the tree and stumbles forward. A tree in front of him cracks and falls, but he quickly pushes to the right away from it. He moves to keep going forward, but he's stopped again. The water that floods the hill, that pulls branches, that rushes down the mountain like a new river. He's found it. It breaks his path. He cannot move on. Instead, he looks up. His eyes search through the pelting of rain. They eventually find the tree, but he can make out the shape. He can't make out the shapes anymore. He drops down onto his knees before the new tides. Waters! He calls, once, twice, a third time, and he hears it. A click. The whiz and beeping of something flying through the air, flying towards him. He sees it only when it lands to the side of him. A grenade? It stops, flashes, and suddenly the air is electrocuted. The feeling of it... Bro, Balios can't just stay away from electricity. The feeling of it rips through his body, brings familiarity, pain, memories. It hurts. He can't move. He screams. Sonny! A voice, not his own, close to him. A fist against the back of his head, knocking it down to the dirt. He feels the rush of the water as it soaks the edges of his hair. A spear, an attempted act of a physical assault, involuntary manslaughter. I didn't. The attempt to protest between convulsions met by a kick to the side. Freya! It's from the other side now. It moves too quickly. Or is his mind moving too slowly? Mental harm. You have corrupted her vision of life and death. That wasn't his fault. To be fair. Balios did nothing to hurt Freya. That was Okul. Poor Balios just got fucking executed. For that, he doesn't argue. What can he say? It wasn't my fault. But that's not entirely true anymore. He tries to... Waters is just as bad as Magos. In fact, he is worse. Waters and Magos are two separate deals, okay? Waters never took a creature and, bled it dry and, like a shapeshift. Anyway, that's messed up. Hi, Angel. He tries to lift his eyes to find Waters in the storm, but the second he gets a glimpse of him, it's like he disappears. Truffle. The voice grows angrier. Even against the ripping wind, he can hear him. He can hear him everywhere. Balios pushes himself against the ground to back up from the river. Maybe he can get away from the electricity so that he can speak. Assault and battery, involuntary manslaughter. Your actions have directly caused them physical harm. Mental effects are unlistable, a long, irrelevant list. Then suddenly, Waters appears directly in front of him. He grabs him by the back of his hair and pulls his head up to look at him. Frog, Kron, the names spit out in quick succession. Waters' hand shakes where it holds Balios still. The unrelenting fury he still tries to hold back to some extent. There's a glow across his arms like stars. It lights up the side of his face, enough to where Balios can see two pinpricks of light deep in the waters of the tank, like where eyes would be. The mental harm you have caused the two of these people is immeasurable. You have dragged them unwillingly into your mess of a life and caused irreparable harm. Many times, they have run the risk of death or physical harm by simple association with you. You should have let them be. Balios shuts his eyes then, because he knows there is one that the man has not yet listed, the most significant one. He braces, but clearly not enough. Light! The father slams his head down into the ground hard enough that his vision flashes white and he can hear his own heartbeat ringing in his ears. Waters actually waits for him to open his eyes again, waits to see that he can hear him before he carries on. This is something he wants him to hear, wants him to know. If it's the only thing that gets drilled into his mind, let it be this. physical harm, mental harm. You have thrown her into the depths of your hell, caused her near-death experiences on multiple occasions. The hospital, the ritual. You have made her a forced witness to the harm you put yourself through. She cares about you, values you, and you would pull her from the very afterlife she holds so dear. For what? To torture her further with your senseless acts of chaos and reckless harm? The same you portray on the people of this God's forsaken speck in the sea of stars? Then Waters lets go of his head, and there's a crunch of fallen leaves as his boots step back against them heavily. Balios does not see the motion. He's too busy shaking from the aftershocks, too busy watching his own vision distort like water. Is it tears? There's a ruffling sound as Water pulls through a bag on his side. He lifts a package wrapped several times in polyethylene sheets and tosses it unceremoniously in front of Balios' face. It tumbles into his vision. All of these acts of violence are documented here by date, time, and severity of incidents. Let this be your reminder. Balios can only stare at the box, at the evidence that has been carefully gathered against him by a man he would have considered a friend once. He does not know what they are anymore, but it is no longer that. That ended the moment Light pulled herself free from the soil of her once final resting place and spoke a single name aloud. It will never be recovered. With that thought settled in mind, he watches as Water's boot pulls back and he shuts his eyes before it hits him in the head again. Then he sees only darkness, and unconsciousness finally takes him. As unconsciousness finally takes him, though it is not a relief to be in the dark. Not now with all he has just heard, with all that has just been broken. Waters takes the time with Balios to treat injuries in a way to stop any immediate risk of bleeding out. He takes the time to stage the scene, the injuries. It will look to anyone who witnesses the scene like Balios had just gotten lost and battered by the hurricane. Injuries sustained will be modified to match that story. Shots made into the piercing of branches thrown at too great of a wind speed and lodged into flesh. The man will walk away from this scene after finishing his work. After taking the package he gave the younger man and setting it on the desk of the tower he lives in. After going back to the center of Moon Touch to receive his comms and continue communication with the team on the other side of the hurricane, like he never left, because to them, he didn't. Every action of this was planned, days in advance. Every step was measured so that the timing would be exact and perfect. Every strike of physical harm planned with intent to disguise it from the start. Every camera staged in locations that would not meet the radius of the area he had found for Balios to meet his justice. After the storm has dispersed, he will run a search of the lands, calling the team to return as Balios has gone missing, and nobody will know. He will be found through a search grid, exactly as he needs to be, and nobody will know. The ads... I'm sorry you guys are getting more ads today. I didn't change anything. I don't know why it's doing that, because I have them off. I'll try turning it on and turn it to like the lowest possible. Yeah, we'll try that, see if that works. Yeah, this is crazy. That was an amazing document. I loved that. Oh, Virgil has been messaging me. Hold on. Where's my phone? Pizza! 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 I can't do it. I can't do it right now. My voice is too tired. Truffle. Cyclone. I feel like here, I can adjust this to allow me to actually zoom in for once. There we go. I think it's gonna be much better. The days, you know what I just thought of? I feel like it'd be fire to have everyone have like either like a song, yeah, like a song for their character like Frog does in the videos, but plays during each of their things we read on stream. I think that'd be kind of cool. I'm gonna write that down. Notepad. Make a playlist of songs for characters while reading Lore Tuesday. Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people have songs for their characters. Or you could just, like, give me one and I'll download it and put it on the thing. Strawberry, thanks for the 38 months. Hello.
Hi, Freya.
Another ad? No way. That's crazy. Why are there so many ads? It's like one every few minutes. I'm stopping. Don't worry. Ads are out of control. Okay, this is just, like, Twitch ads are bad. Twitch ads are so insane, what's going on? Alright, that's just some AI thing. That's... Okay, I don't know why they're so much worse than usual. I'm so sorry. Alright, the days had become utterly monotonous, unchanging. I would wake up, then eat breakfast, but only sometimes. After that, I could do a variety of tasks. Chaos most often had to accompany me. Sometimes I would just read, then drink tea. Others we would go out to the market to shop for groceries. Despite the various activities, days still blend together. We would go back home to eat lunch and the sun would usually already be setting thanks to the winter. Shortly after that, I went to work a comparatively short shift. Once I was home, I would stay awake for hours, just staring at my ceiling and letting my mind wander to places it shouldn't. Light had come back. I don't really know how. I didn't care to pay attention to anything she was saying. Maybe I could have talked to them longer, talked to anyone. I didn't. Same day every day. For how long? I don't know. I didn't keep track. That wasn't until Wednesday. The communication device that was given all Salacians dinged with a notification. It honestly scared me the first time it happened. Then it blared out something that was more so an alarm rather than a notification. The sound was demanding and harsh. I had gotten some kind of message from Waters, the head of some weather division of the Keepers. A hurricane was heading towards the Moon-touched kingdom, predicted to also hit parts of Kindlegrim and the Keepers of Solace's land. I had apparently gotten a previous notification about people evacuating, but I must have slept through it. The hurricane had now hit land, making its way through the land. I had personally never experienced a hurricane myself, but I remember visiting coastal towns after one had hit. There was so much destruction, people hurt everywhere, homes destroyed, infrastructure gone. Wait, shit, people are going to get hurt. The hospital. I jolted out of bed, scaring chaos. I didn't say anything, just threw on those dull blue scrubs and started racing towards the door. Need to go, won't be back for a while. That was the only words the man would get before I started making my way to the hospital. Joker's Corner was mostly fine, a little bit cloudy at most. However, the weather near the hospital was a whole different story. The rain was falling in an utter downpour, feeling like bullets against my skin thanks to the harsh wind. In all honesty, the wind was probably the worst part, making it hard to walk. I was grabbing onto the railing of bridges, walls of buildings, and bark of trees to get myself to my destination. The hospital's windows were all boarded up. Normally, the full trip would only take around 15 minutes, but the whole ordeal took 30 minutes. But I made it to the hospital nonetheless. There was only one other nurse there, Mars. She gave me a concerned glance before giving a small smile and wave. She was just starting her way down a hallway, likely to one of the staff rooms, when I ran after her, nearly slipping. Ah! Wait, hey, wait up! She paused and turned around. Yeah? Don't you have one of those weird device things? There's a hurricane coming. We need to prepare the hospital for an influx of patients. Right, I thought I saw something like that. I have a couple rooms ready. How many exactly? Maybe half? I've been here for a while. Okay, I don't know how populated Kindlegrim and the Moon-touched Kingdom are, but if they're on the more populous side, I'm worried it might not be enough. Yeah, hopefully. I'm not sure how fast we can get the rest of the rooms ready, or if all the rooms will be enough for the damage. What exactly did you put in the rooms? Some of the basics, health potions, bandages, and a couple other things. I've never really been near a hurricane, so I'm not sure what to expect for damage. I was hoping more staff would show up to help. I've only ever seen them aftermath. Get gauze, a ton of it. Lots of it. Antibiotics too, the kind we put on wounds. We may also need to outfit a few rooms with respirators in case anyone gets swept away by the flooding. Right, okay, got it. She started to move to get the things needed, but then the lights flickered. Once, twice, 2 in a row. Everything looked to be okay. We both let out a sigh of relief. And then the power went out. The pale wood of the hospital was creaking as the storm picked up. Get the backup generator running immediately. People will likely be coming in as soon as the storm gets better. On it. You'll be all right in there then? I'll manage. She started walking, audible in the odd quiet. They got further and further away until they were not heard at all. This wasn't the time to just stand around waiting. I slowly made my way to the storage closet, feeling along the wall to find my way. Luckily, it wasn't long before the lights turned back on. I made my way to the drawer that held rolls of bandages. We had a stockpile just in case. I grabbed as many as I could into my arms, knocking them from the neat rows and columns. It was fine. I could just reorganize them after this whole ordeal was over. I ran into the waiting room and dumped them onto the counter. A few of them fell, but I just picked them up and tore off the outer layers. Mars passed by a few times, but we didn't bother speaking to each other, too focused on the tasks we were doing. The storm got worse. A lot worse. It didn't matter. I just kept piling supplies into the waiting room for those that may need immediate assistance. Turning this down for myself. It's a little much. I looked out from the doorway, mentally checking off things that we needed. Bandages were on the counter along with the gauze and antibiotic. A few stretchers were leaned against a wall to be carried into the main hospital easier. The storm got calmer. That should have been reassuring, but it was very much not. With the wind and rain slowing down, people would surely start pouring in. Sure enough, I was right. Light and this odd man that had a water tank on his head, whose name I believe is Waters, they came in with a lot of injured people. Me, Mars, and Light immediately got to work. Some of the people I saw being treated I recognized. Balios, Mira, and someone who I vaguely remember seeing a couple times. Balios was carried into the back on one of the stretchers. I was extremely worried for him, despite how much he scares me. Light looked anxious as well. Mira's prosthetic arm was dented, and the person with her had his shirt ripped open on the back. I was glad they were mostly okay. It took hours to get everyone treated. The rooms Mars had prepared were not, in fact, enough. I checked the clock as I was filling out paperwork for the mass amount of patients we suddenly had. 2:27 a.m. The time didn't matter. These needed to be filled out. These people were already injured. They didn't need to worry about some stupid forms. It was 4:49 a.m. by the time I was finished. I didn't bother to go home to sleep and just fell unconscious on the desk. Truffle needs, like, an award, I think. Virgil, if you are listening, could you bring me my water bottle that's on the nightstand? Please. Alright, content warning, violence. The clown? Not the clown. It's in collaboration with Bagel, apparently. Worst Parental Guardian Award. That's crazy. Storms. He forgot how much he hated them, more so being out when they are occurring. Wind screeching and overcoming the ability to hear his own thoughts. Rain pelting down and breaking through whatever surface was even partially within its reach. The ghost had to spend a good chunk of time underneath the cliff's edge, hands covering his ears, waiting for it all to stop. Wait, is Croy back? Like, up from the bottom? Part of him missed being able to lay down, to sit, but he settled for just leaning against the rocky stone of the mountain. He could barely see the world around him. It was so dark. He expected this. He knows that it was because of being down there for so long. What day was it anyway? Besides, he wasn't going to risk walking in that with two of the most important senses down. He was thinking clearly enough that he knew it was stupid. He'd get lost if he did, meaning an even longer walk to find home, to find Kron, to find someone. Hours passed, maybe an entire day or night, but the wind finally calmed and the rain faded out with it. He let the quietness settle, let it linger, and he moved. His sight had brightened to where he could see relatively well. To him, it just looked like nighttime with the sun. Or maybe it was night and Freya created a moon? Would there even be a reason for her to do that? He doubted anyone was complaining to her for not having a moon. At least he hoped people weren't picky and selfish? Was that the right word for it? Why did it even matter? He shook his head, his hand raising to the side of his face as his walk continued, a slight sway to his steps. Gaze turned downwards, the ground blurring together with the rivers he walked along, the bridges he crossed and the biomes that changed. His ears were limp and pathetic, barely giving a twitch, as if the calmness that settled had muted all sound completely. Or maybe the wind still lingered in his head, replacing or repressing his thoughts. That was until he turned his gaze upwards as his hand fell to his side, and he took an unneeded inhale of breath, ears perking slowly as if life and sound was returned to him. Dull leaves, lifeless ground, decaying bark, and most importantly, the Tower of Coleraine, Havoc's unfinished project. Croy shot forward, breathy, partially forced laughs escaping him as he sprinted into the deadly garden of Kindlegrim, getting a hint of déjà vu. He ignored the trees that had fallen from the storm, the ground that had giant craters following in vein-like paths heading north. The tower grew closer. He was almost... Oh, 'cause like, Havoc's grave! Oh! Reveal and reborn. He stopped as he reached the clearing. His unneeded breath stopped making his chest rise and fall. The unfinished tower stood tall and strong as it always did, no damage. The grave beside, in shambles. Havoc's body laying across the path, carelessly. Croy could only stare for a solid moment, taking in the scene, trying to make sense of it. He swallowed a lump that formed in his throat, beginning to slowly move to the grave's side. His hand trailed over the stone. The gold shards that had broken from the ore once proudly presented atop the headstone, spewed across the area and covered in filth. A moon would make the nights brighter on Solace. True! Out for safety! Loki, yeah. A moon that's made of something that's like really bright would be great. The path that led from Havoc's house, where he lived and worked, all the way to where he would eternally rest, cracked and broken. Highlight. The headstone was a pile of rubble, the sign marking the grave is Havoc's broken in half and discarded on top. The condolences book abandoned in the green moss just off the side of the path. Croy crouched down and scooped it up in his hands, the pages opening to the message he wrote. He was the only one who wrote something, the only one who visited. He noticed the flowers from his last visit, withered and squished, thrown into the piles of dirt. He built this, on his own, and it was just ripped apart so easily, like it was the most insignificant thing ever. Maybe it was the storm? Maybe it had formed close by? But that wouldn't explain the talon markings in the coffin's edges within the disturbed grave, nor would it explain the fact that the lid had torn off, or how the body managed to be pulled out. He set the book down, a hand running through his fringe, tugging on it softly, his attention returning to the mess, to Havoc's body, the cracked skull. He shook his head sharply. He needed to focus. He needed to fix it. No one else was going to do it, evidently, so he took a deep breath and moved. The stone and gold was gathered, chisels and mallets created from his tar to reshape and secure. The sign was replaced. The path was cleaned of filth and unrepairable remains. The body was carried and gently placed back into the now cleaned casket. Croy paused. His gaze landed on the hammer, a tool Havoc had hidden beneath his cloak when the ghost had found him dead. His gaze flicked to the opposite side, hands clenching into fists against the edges of the casket from where he crouched over it. There was supposed to be a sword, too, but that was missing from its space. Croy quickly searched around the edges of the dug hole around the coffin, searching for the blade, a tightening itching at his jaw. Nothing. Did it get thrown out with the body? Maybe it was in the rubble remains or dirt? Did Croy maybe brush over it, mistake it for something else? Was he really that out of it that he'd mistake a fucking sword for a twig? He shook his head and pulled himself out from his crouched position above the grave, wandering the general area of the wreckage, searching around in the moss that coated the floor, the colors graduating between gray and green. Wandering the bases of trees he had planted, still with many years to grow, even went as far as searching in the piles of dirt, feeling stupid for doing so. His mind was trying to focus, parts still scattered and so lost, that he didn't notice the forest had grown stiller than usual, that the sun had dulled to oblivion, that a fog had begun to creep its way forward until it surrounded him, reaching where his hooves would be. Shuffling. A groan. Croy's ears immediately perked, his mind finally taking in the scenery change and quickly standing straight. He stood still, listening. A heavy thump. Nights on Solace would be really dark because there would be only starlight to light the night. Indeed, it is. It is canonically very dark. I'm in stick bugged. If someone is in VC with Virgil right now, could you tell him to bring me my water bottle, please? Roy's attention shot towards the noise, hand hovering over the void of his chest. His shoulders bunched partly at what he saw, staggering upon the pillowed bedding of the coffin, turning to inspect the area, movements slow but jumpy. Havoc's dead body standing tall and strong, as if he had just been sleeping, and a rough one at that, given the damages left on him. For fuck's sake. Croy murmured beneath his breath, his other hand reaching up to rub his temple. Another hallucination, he thought. Why is everyone bonking me and stuff right now? Just for fun? Unfortunately, he was heard, Havoc's ram's skull snapping towards the ghost with a sharp movement that put Croy right back on guard. A light glowed from within the openings, bright and pulsing. It tilted, as if having another look around, or maybe he was assessing the ghost in front of him. It was hard to tell. It has certainly been a long time since I've been here. Pick up that hammer, Croy. There was one last lesson I need to teach. Havoc's voice was calm, a slight echo to the words he spoke. He stepped forward out of the grave before subtly gesturing to it with a tick of his head, watching Croy expectantly. The ghost, in turn, didn't move at first. His hands slowly fell to his sides, attention darting from the grave, shrouded in fog just like most of everything else, and then back to the supposed dead faction leader. I understand your wariness, but if you want to return to your path, you need to do as I say. His voice came again, gesturing his hand out towards the grave once more, encouraging the other dead man to come forward, to which, with a reluctant sigh, Croy moved forwards, reaching the edge of the open grave and crouching down, his hand finding the rough handle after a few moments of searching. He lifted it up, the steel and gold accents glistening from the light within Havoc's skull. He took a few steps back with a soft sigh, the hammer held at his side. His expression tightened a little. Wielding it felt wrong. What now? The ghost began to ask, attention flicking back to the fallen leader, stopping short as a bright orange light emanated from Havoc's outstretched hands. Swords grew from the very air that was set alight, fists secured around the handles as if it was an extension of his very body. It made Croy perk up in slight alarm, taking a small step back. He knew it. He knew this was a fucking trick. Havoc, what are you? The only way you are leaving here is to fight with your heart. And with that, Havoc lunged forward at the ghost, swinging both swords down, narrowly missing as Croy had jumped out of the way. The ghost let out a loud curse, his voice carrying out over the foggy void. He'd only regained his footing when a foot slammed into his chest, the flat side of one sword slapping him across the face, making him fall to the ground. How was he not sinking? A sharp flash. He saw Angel. He saw danger. Loomis. Sickness. Cliff. Wings. Space pod. A man. Get up. Croy forced himself up to his feet, and the flashes stopped, looking over his shoulder to see Havoc waiting for him to stand. He picked the hammer back up. Do not leave yourself open. Croy swiftly blocked a sword with a swish of tar from his chest, continuing to block and defend, avoiding each hit and slice and general attack. He was knocked down again with a slice to the leg. He saw light, blood running from her eyes, wings burned, dirt. He gets up. He was slammed into a tree and sank down against it. He saw Sam, cave, lightning, error screen. He gets up. He was thrown down to the ground by the neck. He saw links, medicine, files, broken code. He gets up. He fell again, and again. He saw Balios, Froggy, Zinnia. Danger, danger, danger. And every time, he'd get back up to continue to block and defend. He closed a sphere of tar around Havoc, trying to hold it firm, but with a few hits beforehand, Havoc spun his blades and sliced right through, cutting through more walls created to block the way. Havoc managed to trap Croy's arm between the two blades, holding it upwards and close to stop him from continuing this cat-and-mouse game, forcing Croy up onto his tippy toes. Stop blocking. Hit me. Fight. I am not going to hit you with your own weapon, especially with the fact that you are nothing but your corpse. Croy fired back, bending his arm unnaturally and getting free, ducking beneath a downward swing. He twisted his upper body to block a blade with the hammer, steel against steel, making a loud squealing noise that made the deer grimace. He was pushed backwards, bracing his arm against the back of the hammer, trying to hold some more support. His heels reached the edge of Havoc's grave, feeling his weight being forced back, almost into a backbend. Listen to me, Croy. Havoc's voice carried over in a firm, low tone, not letting up, but not pushing further either. The lights from within his skull grew brighter, as if demanding attention from the loose reattachment to the months-old corpse. The fog beneath them seemed to react and swirl to Havoc's will, slowly spiraling around in between the two's feet and knees. Okel's Skullcath. She is the one who did this, not the storm. Okel? She took the sword. She is going to use it, and you will have a lot more graves to dig. One of them will for certainty have Kron's name on it. Croy's expression faltered as flashes of Kron obscured his vision. Memories of happiness and panic, scenarios of what-ifs and possibilities. His grip tightened on the handle of the hammer, the tool seeming to settle more comfortably in his grip without him realizing. Havoc took notice, however, his head tilting ever so slightly. If his face was visible, he'd probably be smiling at least a little. And giving a small test, he pushed a bit more weight with his swords, as if making a subtle attempt to make the ghost fall back into the grave. But instead, he was met with his swords being knocked away with a sharp clang, one leaving his hand from the surprise force. He was kicked in the side, sending him staggering a bit before he quickly regained his footing, scooping up the sword from the mist. Croy charged forward, blocking a sword attack with a swish of tar, and blocking the other with a swing from the hammer, ignoring the sharp chime noise it made. He advanced a bit more, dodging when he needed, and landing hits despite the pit of guilt that swarmed in the pit of his stomach. He got faster, Havoc keeping in time. The swirling of the fog around them grew more rapid, as if reacting to the fight. Croy dodged a kick and caught a sword across the arm, which shoved him back a little. But, with a quick reaction, he slammed his foot into Havoc's knee, causing it to buckle and the corpse man to fall onto one knee. With a sharp extension of his arm, the hammer rattled and grew into the great war hammer he remembered. And, without a second thought, he swung it upwards, slamming it under the chin of Havoc's ram skull, sending the dead man's head back, almost unnaturally, the rest of his body following after to land onto his back. Croy faltered back after a moment, the warhammer falling to rest on his shoulder. His chest rose and fell with unneeded, heavy breaths, a slow realization of what he had just done making panic and adrenaline spark and mix together. He placed the hammer down hurriedly and knelt down at Havoc's side, just as the man snapped his neck back into a place, the ghost's hands hovering over him in uncertain worry. "Shite, Havoc, Havoc burst out into laughter as he stood back up, the ghost slowly standing up beside him. "I'm fine, Croy. I wouldn't be where I am if I couldn't take a simple hit. The fight is done. You pass." The man's laugh slowly died down, Croy offering a small chuckle of his own, which stopped soon after, his shoulders slumping with a small sigh. They adjusted themselves out of self-consciousness, ears twitching softly as they fumbled with their jumper, occasionally glancing to the warhammer he had set down. Havoc, ever observant, noticed this and watched the ghost quietly as he fidgeted, to which the man placed a hand on his shoulder, moving to stand in front of him. When Croy didn't immediately look at him, his other hand came to rest on the ghost's other shoulder, giving a small squeeze, a subtle urge for him to get rid of the guilt. "Stand strong, Croy Forgemail." Croy's ears perked in Havoc's direction, followed by his face turning up to look at him, a hint of surprise at the surname given to him being Havoc's own. The ghost was about to say something, but his words died on his non-existent tongue as he watched Havoc's body begin to crack and splinter, disintegrating into golden dust as he spoke final words, echoing through the vast plain like it was a message carried by the wind itself. "How do you want all this to end?" The glowing dust flowed and twirled up into the sky, the fog following like it was sucked up like a vacuum, by a vacuum, brushing off and surrounding the ghost until it all ceased. Croy stared upwards for a long moment, the faint sun peeking through the clouds shining upon the scene. A small laugh escaped him with a shake of his head, turning towards the grave which had miraculously been repaired, more so a memorial now. Fresh flowers and colorful grass growing around the stone, the gold replaced and reflecting in the light that floated over the trees. He picked the condolences book back up and placed it upon the lectern as before, open and welcoming anyone to write. His attention returned to the hammer of forges, which sat in its smaller size, as if patiently awaiting him, to which he picked it up, turning it in his hand with care. Maybe wielding it wasn't too bad after all. But now he had other problems to handle. He needed to make sure no other damage was done, and if there was, to fix it. Then he needed to find a certain thieving general. Speaking of which, I need to write this down, but Astra and I have been making the next Okel Freya interaction. But I got mine done. I don't know if she got her side done. Alright, written log from Waters. Sorry, my voice is kind of giving out today. All I know. Clone flower. Flower becomes clone. Flower power. Is that Zinnia? Hi, Cece. Speaking of, is this a Zinnia thing? On the matter of the hurricane, as is necessary for the record, this is a report of my direct experiences within the hurricane. Last night, Wednesday, 1/7, a hurricane that I had been tracking across several days prior impacted. I had stationed myself in the Moon-Touched Kingdom as it would be nearest to the storm and faced the worst of the weather. I believed myself to be the best option for the people of the region should anyone have not heeded my warnings of evacuation. That font is amazing to look at. It is. I arrived early to set up sensors and add last-minute protections to structures left behind residents. I monitored the storm from there until it got too close. I left for the west edge of Kindlegrim as it was less impacted. Once the hurricane passed the Moon-Touched Kingdom, I ran a check of the lands and retrieved my sensors. It was during this period that I found Balios' comms device discarded by his tower. As the storm was still raging nearby, I elected to begin the search for him alone. This search, however, was interrupted by the sudden run-in with Zinnia. I went to her as I heard her shouting in the storm, but on arrival, I had found her lifting a fallen tree and throwing it somehow. I did not have time to question it, but Zinnia provided me with a post-it note provided above to explain after the fact. I still do not understand it, but I did need to get her to safety as she was located deep in the hurricane path. I diverted from the search and recovery mission to bring Zinnia to the Solace Hospital for traveling northeast around the storm to avoid the worst of the winds. I monitored the storm as we moved, as well as the locations of everyone on the search and recovery team. I noticed Mira and Dante had stopped moving for several minutes and pinged their locations immediately upon noticing. Upon making it to the Keepers of Solace area. Oh yeah, Freya got that ping and went and found them, and then carried them to the Arcturus land evacuation zone. Upon making it to the Keepers of Solace area, I stayed with Zinnia at the hospital until the storm had passed safely enough for safety procedures to begin. It is around that time that I met up again with you, Freya. So while the rest might not need direct documentation, I will note that after you cleared the water from the air to stop the storm, I alerted you to head to Mira and Dante's coordinates. The injured were transported to the hospital, including them. Oh, yeah. Okay. She didn't bring them to Arcturus land. She brought them to the hospital, apparently. Hi, Mora. Welcome back. Then we all met back up at the community center to begin blocking out a search grid for the rest of the impacted region. That is roughly the conclusion of the storm. I will be compiling a list of the injured and damages over the next few days of surveying, so the information on the data document attached may not be complete at this point. I will mail you an updated report if anything changes. Take some time to rest. You've done a lot to help here. I don't think she kind of slowed down the storm at the end there, but if anyone has a problem with that, have them take it up with me. Director Ayn Waters of SUNC. SUNC 1/7 hurricane data. This was the weather alert we saw. This was the hurricane path we saw. 120-mile-an-hour winds. And the end was 98. Uh, 1935 to 1950, Waters makes it to the Moon-Touched Kingdom. The first sensors are placed down in preparation for the storm. Waters sandbags and boards up the houses in the Moon-Touched Kingdom. The hurricane makes landfall in uninhabited lands to the south of the Moon-Touched Kingdom. The hurricane begins as a Category 3. The hurricane hits the Moon-Touched Kingdom and the edge of Kindlegrim. Waters evacuates to safer ground, heading west of the storm. The hurricane passes the Moon-Touched Kingdom. Balios is determined to be missing. A ping is set up for the Moon-Touched Kingdom area. Waters encounters Zinnia in the storm and helps her evacuate to safer ground. The hurricane passes over the mostly uninhabited lands between the Moon-Touched Kingdom and Riverside. The hurricane begins to impact Riverside. The hurricane decreases to a Category 2. The hurricane hangs over Riverside, flooding sections of the Lilac Expeditions. A landslide occurs in Riverside, impacting Mira, Archer, and Dante. Waters notices a lack of movement from Mira and Dante's comms, pings the location for rescue alerts. The hurricane passes over Riverside. The hurricane begins to impact the Keepers of Solace. Natural wobbling of decreasing wind speed causes the hurricane to drift towards the west, away from the Keepers of Solace. The hurricane stops suddenly, sooner than anticipated. Notification goes out that Freya has stopped the storm. Oh, that wasn't like Freya was just like, you know what, I'm sick of this. Stop being in the Keepers of Solace area. Whoosh. I know people are gonna be mad at her for not doing it earlier. message goes out from Einwaters notifying anyone able to begin searching their post locations for any individuals missing in the storm. Comm locations of missing individuals are sent out in a group messaging system. Mira Archer and Dante are found near the landslide. Minor injuries, but safe. Balios is found deep in the woods to the north of the Moontouch Kingdom. His comms device was not on him. Significant injuries consistent with being thrown by the greater winds of the storm. The injured are all transported to the hospital. The next day, well, 1 in the morning, areas began to receive damage assessment by members of the SUNC team. The regions impacted by the storm are reluctantly deemed safe and cleared of any missing or trapped individuals. Recorded injuries and casualties. Balios, processing for significant injuries. Minor injuries are Einwaters, Mira Archer, Dante, processing. No casualties. Waters, cut on the hand from flying debris. Zinnia, fatigue. Mira and Dante, crush injuries from landslide. Balios, dislocated shoulder, dislocated knee. Minor external abrasions and lacerations. Not bad. Honestly, it is so impressive that Freya can even stop a storm that Frog isn't mad at all. Well, it's impressive that Frog isn't mad that Freya can stop a storm, or that Freya... It is so impressive that Freya can even stop a storm. Oh, Frog's house got flooded. Oop. I mean, like, isn't she, like, aquatic or whatever? Well, no, 'cause she's a dog now. Frog dog. Yeah, Freya, someone, you know, I bet what happened is Freya was like, it's so sad that this hurricane's going on. Marcella's like, you could probably just, like, stop it by, like, I don't know, absorbing the water, right? She's like, you know what? That's a good point. Hold on. And then she's just like, all the water. Really hydrated. Hot dog water house. Current state reminder 2 from within the rings. Let me do this. There we go. It is the 8th of January, 2498. I have not been able... 2498? Oh yeah, it is 2498. Oh my gosh, it's 2 years until 2500. That's crazy. I have not been able to furnish my home further due to the hospital. I don't mind the work. It gives me something to do. An occupation that I hadn't been able to use prior to this noisy planet. But how injured these people get almost on a weekly basis, monthly if we've been praying right, it's almost shocking. Most of the time it's because the person or people are charged head first into something chaotic like a martyr act no one asked them to do. But again, if this new guard force won't do it, who will? As of recent, Nurse Light has returned from the dead after the events of the ball. The woman was shook. I could tell as I assisted a fellow worker in tending to her wounds. I would have hoped she had stayed to rest, but I was holding onto unlit candles. She left to go home with the assistance of Frog and Feather. I wish her well, and I hope to not see her making her way in here to work as before. Last night a hurricane occurred, but there didn't appear to be many major injuries. I had been in the boarded-up hospital for the duration until Lumer and Freya stopped the hurricane shy of the Keepers of Solace. Judge Mira, her romantic partner Dante, and Zinnia are the only ones I know of as injured as the current moment from this event. I hope that if there are more to come by, I would be contacted directly, especially if it consists of major injuries. Aside from this, I have been alright. I do hope I will get around to continuing my work on my house at some point soon. Maybe talk to people outside of my employment, or rather volunteering. No one gets paid. Friends would be nice to have. Ringy. Oh yeah, I do need to zoom in once more. Maybe not. Oh no, because I moved it. That's why it looks weird. Oh well. What's the point? A shiver ran up their spine as they carried buckets of water outside, the biting cold of the flooded area they were trying to drain being what caused it. The fur of their hooves were soaked, making the skin beneath the fur numb, yet sore at the same time. Kron dumped the water outside, copying what other people were doing. There wasn't anyone injured or trapped, so they honestly weren't sure what else to do to help. And to their knowledge, Mr. Tank was busy. They didn't really want to bother him. Yeah! Pizza! Oh, can you bring me my water bottle? It's by the bed. Thank you. Pizza! pizza. Mm. I didn't really want to bother him. Thank you. Oh, the bigger one. Smaller one you can just dump out.
Okay.
He's probably dealing with some bigger stuff anyway. Ron let out a huff, placing the buckets down on the ground and taking a second to rest, fingers clenching into fists before spreading out, repeating the motion to try to get rid of the numbness. This was partnered with stopping their hooved feet, almost hopping from one to the other, the grass squelching beneath the movement. Have I ever had Marco's Pizza? No, I have never heard of that. I like Domino's. They didn't realize how odd they probably looked doing this, not that they'd really care if they did. Water dripped from their clothes and hair, darkening the color of the fabric and making them colder, but they just muttered under their breath while their teeth lightly chattered, hands bunching up their hair from underneath their hood and wringing it out, hitting them in the face with the smell of rainwater. The sky had cleared up at least a bit from the night before, once Stardust Lady had gotten rid of the hurricane. It was still freezing, though, unfortunately. Frost built up on the grass that remained, some of which turned to slush from steps and dumped water. Kron's breath came out in foggy clouds, curling out the sides of their mask before disappearing. After a few more moments, wringing out their trench coat train and getting ready to pick up the buckets and get back on task to continue to help, something caught their attention, soggy ears perking beneath their hood. A voice that sounded familiar? They glanced about with a hint of curiosity, stepped slow, until they spotted a colorful figure standing about 10 feet away from them. Wings spread out from the sides of the figure's head, twitching and flapping, flicking the water droplets from the feathers. A colorful dress hung from their frame. Although soaked from rain, it still looked beautiful. And as Kron continued to stare, the figure turned, revealing their face. It was Light, a comms device up to her mouth, speaking to a person on the other end. Who it was, Kron didn't know, nor did they even process the curiosity to think about it. Miss Guide? Was that her? But Kron felt a sudden weight build up in their head. Familiar, discomforting. They inhaled sharply, trying to think, to make sense of what was happening. That it wasn't real. It couldn't be. Were they hallucinating? Like Croy would sometimes? Was it the cold making them see things? No, it had to be someone else. One of the buckets fell from their numb hand, the handle clanking against the metal side as it swung down to rest there upon landing in the grass. The noise drew Kron back to attention, but it also drew the attention of Light, who quickly ticked her head towards the soggy person staring at her. Her eyes widened a little, the comms device slowly being slipped into her pocket. Kron? Her voice was soft as she called out, a tone that was intended to be gentle, unintentionally being haunting to the other. When she received no response, she turned and began to make her way towards Kron, her steps unsteady with an obvious limp. Her wings on either side of her head fluffed out about against the sides of her head, while her ears perked slowly, hinting at the happiness she felt. A soft, weak smile spread across her face, her wobbly walk coming to a stop a few feet from Kron. "Hello, Kron." Kron didn't respond. They were frozen, bodies still, Light only being met with the cracked, relatively blank face of their mask. She took in their state silently, taking note of the prominent red stain that had formed on the front of their soaked buttoned shirt, sparking as much concern as the mask's cracked appearance did. "What are you doing out here? You're soaked. Where's Croy?" She waited a few moments, her smile faltering away as the silence stretched on. Her head tilted a little, her tired eyes filling with a swirl of worry, the wings on the sides of her head folding down. She took a slow step forward, her hand instinctively reaching out, hovering just shy of touching Kron's arm. "Kron?" "Stop it!" The sharp murmur from the person she saw as her little brother seemed to surprise her. Faltering, her hand back from their arm, but she didn't leave, her eyebrows furrowing. "Stop?" Her repeat of what was said was met with no response once more. Kron turned their head away, their raw, red hands clenching into tight fists, one clenched around the other bucket handle still in their grip. Their shoulders were tensed up, water from their hood and hair dribbling down their mask or dripping to the ground below. The cold didn't seem to be the only cause for their shakes now. Just as Light was about to speak again, to explain, her other hand that wasn't partly reached towards Kron, twiddling with the strands of her hair, Kron cut her off. "This, not fair. This is unfair. Their voice cracked a little in the small murmur, forcing them to cut off their sentence. They took a small step back, their hand moving through their own hair, tugging on the sweat strands of their fringe, squeezing water out that ran between their fingers and down their numb skin. They could feel Light looking at them, could feel the heavy feelings in her eyes weighing upon them. What could have done this? Was it that monastery? Did they do this to her? What was it? Whatever happened to Belios's body? Was something puppeteering her? She felt real. She couldn't be a hallucination. Kron, I'm sorry. Kron heard Light begin to say, just as Kron's eyes widened, coming to a realization. Water welled up from behind their eyes as they turned sharply to her, hands clenched even tighter. Don't! I know I'm not the smartest, but I'm not an idiot. They noticed Light take a small step back, her face dropping and filling with even more concern and guilt. But to them, it was fake. It was an act to trick them and make them feel worse all over again, to let their guard down. You are a sick woman. Disgusting. Sick, mean person. Why? Why fucking this? They gestured harshly to Light, dropping the other bucket. Their voice had risen in their frustration, and if there was anyone not occupied nearby, they were most likely watching this occur. Maybe thinking that this wasn't the time for drama, or being confused on what was going on. But Kron just did not care. The world around them wasn't clear as the weight they thought had subsided came crashing down on them all over again. The feelings they worked hard to understand and learn about, to ease away so they could keep going, strangling them and pulling at their skin. This wasn't fair. This was awful. Kron, the slight crack in Light's voice made part of Kron falter, but it was quickly suppressed by the rush they felt. Their fingers tensed and twitched, their head pulsing with their thundering heartbeat and chest tight, the wound beneath their clothes suddenly very hot. They shook their head almost frantically, scratching at their neck, knocking their wrists against their temples, verging on the movements being vigorous. Stop it! You're not her! You're not my sister! Stop pretending! It's not funny! They tried to take a deep breath, but it kept hitching and jumping, making them let out a sharp curse in their native tongue, hating how they couldn't just get it together, couldn't be strong for more than 5 minutes without wanting to hit something, without not being able to speak or breathe like they should, without water pouring out of their eyes, without just wanting to curl up and scream. They could feel a pressure building within their throat, trying to force its way out, to make Kron's words incomprehensible to anyone with ears. Their face had grown hot, their fast, hitching breaths wafting back up into their face as the exhales curved around the inside of the mask. Their cheeks were slick with water, the feeling of it adding onto the distress. Their chest hurt. Why did it always hurt? Why was it hurting more? Why won't their ears shut up? Why won't their hearts shut up and get out of their ears? Why does their clothes feel so tight? Why does everything just have to go to ruin every time they build it up? They couldn't be here. They weren't going to stay and be tricked. They weren't needed. They were not needed. People could do this on their own without Kron. Did doing this not make Mr. Tank love you again? I wish you fucking died instead. You horrible woman. You sick bitch, Elia. Kron managed out, choking back a sob which sounded as if it had bordered on painful. Their voice had faded, their ears quaking beneath their hood like deafening sounds being fed into them to make them hurt more. It felt like that, as if the pain everywhere else was unjustified, not something they should be this upset over, and that their body was giving them a proper reason. A real reason. They turned on their heels and started walking away, trying to appear normal, even as their hand was pressed very firmly against the face of their mask, trying to force the comfort it provided to work. But it wasn't. Why wasn't it working? It's supposed to. It has to. Why does everything keep fucking changing? If people die, they're not supposed to be respected. To be a spirit you might or mightn't see, not coming back a few weeks later, not to be impersonated by a fucking shapeshifter. They just kept walking, pace picking up, the world roaring at them, despite it being silent. A worsening pressure, a rougher push. They yanked at their hair again, ignoring the red blink of one of the SUNC's camera in the corner of their eye. They let the small, soggy clumps that stuck to their palms fall to the ground below with a hard shake. Kron would stop eventually. They would calm down and get over themselves, and act like their normal self when they come back. That's what Kron has to do. But what was the point if people kept ruining it? Remember the promise to misguide. Be happy for her. Poor Kron. And having to do this all by themselves. Alright, I gotta take a bite of pizza. Pizza. We got some good stuff today. Pizza! We're on bagels worth the cost. Magos lore. I'm trying to eat pizza because I'm starving. Here, enjoy some art while I chew. Okay, I'm back. I ate my 2 slices of pizza really fast. Magos had remembered a time where life had once filled the collector. So much time had passed and so many had fallen. I must stay on task. His steps echoed through the ship. He had faith that Lucky could complete the task at hand. Scarabs buzzed around him like a mini choir. He finally reached his destination, the cryopods. Frozen figures had decorated this room. Unlike those of the museum, these people were dead. He wished it did have to come to that, but they would have spread the disease throughout the ship. He passed the statues and went into the actual cryopod chambers. At the end of a long hallway laid his son, asleep in stasis. Son? His son, Solric, was stuck in stasis from the virus that affected so many of his people. Soon you will feel the sun on your skin, maybe on this planet or our home. He did not want Solric on this planet. These people would treat him with as much dignity as an automaton. People treat automatons with dignity, like... I feel people wouldn't be mean. These people with their inactive government that allowed him to have power so easily. He knew someone worse may come along, the criminals they let run free. There were no attempts to catch them. This government will take a scapegoat here soon. He would quickly think of possible candidates they would go after. Not Mira, she's their favorite. They made no attempt to capture the Frostfire leader after the events of them breaking Opal out. That leaves him and Waters. They need us both, unless... No, I'm the only high-ranking doctor on Solace. They need me. Waters, however, was a lot less replaceable. They viewed him with respect. If only they knew the truth about his people. His people. The ones who pierced my heart at a young age. Those who wanted to take over my home by force. Those who taught my people that isolation is the key to survival. I am glad that Oliek killed the one like him. With his rant over with, he said goodbye to his son and left to continue his work. By the way, if any of you are, like, know about what Magos has done against the law, please, I posted a link to a document in lore discussion. I think if you scroll up a bit, you can find it. Like, I need everyone to help me come up with everything to catch Virgil up on hospital lore so that we can have the Marcelo v. Magos trial. All right. Light and Lucky. As the sun crept down on Solace, the hustle of one nurse never ceased. Light may have not been back long, but she was already back to work, tending to the new and old patients on the hospital floors. Light was assigned to a recent patient, Lucky, a satyr with a very large shoulder gash. The goat had only been there for a few days or so, but it was going to take a good couple weeks for the injury to heal properly. Light and Lucky could say they kind of knew each other, at least to the point they knew who each other were. Light made her way to the room, pushing it open just to notice a startled Lucky sitting straight up in her bed. Lucky cleared her throat after being startled. Light, great. Couldn't Truffle or someone else have done this? Light stood at the door very confused. Oh, did I startle you? A lot have been startled by my reappearance lately. Lucky fiddled with their hands a bit before looking up at Light. It's not you randomly coming back from the dead, it's, I don't know, you in general. Light would pause and tilt her head, her wings fluttering a bit. Just me? She'd reply. How so, if you don't mind me asking? I'm not that intimidating, right? Lucky stared at Light, contemplating her reply before answering. Well, for some maybe. I'm not saying in a bad way, though, don't worry. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Light said while offering a nervous smile. She placed an allium in a vase for Lucky. Do take your medicine. It'll ease the pain. Light watched her put the flower in the vase and sigh. I apologize. I guess it is quite rude of me when we haven't even had the chance to chat properly. It's all right, Light said as she pulled up a stool, sitting with a grateful sigh. I understand I don't come off as cuddly, although it is nice to finally talk to you. Lucky offered her arm to her so she could check the bandages on her shoulder. Yes, I agree. I've seen you around often enough, I feel it's long overdue. Light chuckled and unwrapped the bandages. I would have gone up to you sooner, she said as she looked over Lucky's injury, smiling and nodding when she saw that it was healing properly. But I'll admit, I am a ball of anxiety when I meet people. She continued as she applies a healing potion to the injury and rewraps it with gauze and fresh bandages. Lucky chuckles, her body relaxing slightly. Yeah, well, I'll admit I don't do well with people either. She pauses, thinking of something else to say. Especially people so, I don't know, powerful or mysterious, I guess. Mysterious? Light questioned, her smile turning into a teasing grin. What about me is so mysterious? Lucky glanced her over and tilted her head. To me, absolutely everything. I mean, you're, what, a dragon shifter thing and everyone thinks you die, but you're back and just quickly return to work like it's nothing. She smiles a bit. You can't say that's not a little mysterious? Light smiled, faltered slightly. Ah, right, she said softly. Well, you can thank Balios for bringing me back to life, and, well, I just want to help people, especially since the formation and devastation of a hurricane didn't exactly give me time to rest. Not when I'm needed to help people. Well, if I knew Balios, well, I would thank him. I know many people enjoy your company. Lucky adjusted in her bed as one of her mice climbed up to lay on the pillow. I do think you work too much. You look tired, honestly. I am, Light admitted, but I'm not one to leave my post when I'm still on the clock. Plus, I only have a few more hours, then I can go home and faceplant into my nest of blankets. She dug through her bag and took out a tiny piece of bread. She held it in her palm as she offered it to the mouse. Yes, we do need witnesses. Lucky watched this with a small smile. Everyone who had ever met her rats usually questioned her or were disgusted. You don't mind them running around? Not at all, Light said with a kind smile. I have my own crow about, mostly watching over Balios in case he does something stupid. Lucky was immediately interested, leaning in closer. Really? I would love to see it sometime. I mean, if that's okay. Light smiled and whistled. In flew a crow who landed on Light's hand. It was mostly black with bits of a glittery purple on the edge of its wings and tail. This is Allium. Lucky restrained from reaching as she examined the bird. This is amazing. Could I see it fly sometime? Of course, Light said. She'd love to show off her flying to you. These little conversations seemed to go on forever. The two talked about their animals, their lives, and just about anything and everything. After around 10 minutes or so, they did not realize how loud they were as a voice rang outside of the room. Having fun there, little sister? Balios called out. Light turned and glared at her brother. Any real embarrassment she felt was shown when the tips of her ears turned bright red. I didn't take you to be the type to flirt in the hospital. Light's face turned pink, the feathers on her wings puffing up. Normally, dragons eat goats, not date them. Balios, are you trying to get killed? Balios! She snapped as Balios walked away, smug as can be. Gods above, Allium, go peck him. The crow obeyed, flying out of the room and pecking Balios in the back of the neck, making him wince and try to shoo the bird off. She only circled him as she made sure Balios went back to bed. Light sighed, her wings tucking close to her face to hide her embarrassment. Gods, I'm sorry, Lucky. Balios tends to be a pain sometimes. Lucky's face was a bit red, her ears folded down as she chuckled slightly. Yeah, it's okay. It was funny, I guess. Maybe you should go back to work, though. It's been a good while. I'm sure you have other patients. Yeah, I should, Light replied as she stood up. She winced slightly when she placed weight on her prosthetic leg and quickly brushed it off. Don't forget to take your medicine, and it was nice to finally talk to you. The dragon offered her one last smile, then she hobbled out of the room, closing the door softly behind her. I need that crow to just peck Balios forever. Log 1. New beginnings once again. It's been almost a month since I left Solace, and now I'm back again. Things haven't really changed from what I can tell, which is nice to know. I haven't been around yet, but I think I'm gonna go visit Onyx and Helena's graves first. Maybe my house. I wonder how Alfie is doing. I want to see him again. Maybe he'd be willing to see me again soon. Gosh, I hope so. I miss him. I hope he's doing okay recently. Anyways, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I'm starting a new journal. I just hope my time away helped with the issue there was before I left. Frog video! Let's go! Frog video! Concerned friends and faction meeting. Thank you everyone for coming here to another faction meeting. It has been a while. We'd had a break for the holidays and everything. I have a few things to announce, then we can move it to anyone who wants to speak. First of all, I appreciate everyone for following the new safety protocols put in place, especially the curfew. There have been a few incidents where people were not following the curfew or other things, but it seems that mostly the streets have been clear, and that really helps the guard force with keeping everyone safe. So please continue following all of those protocols and listen to the guard force. In addition to all of the safety protocols that we put into place, please keep in mind that we have comms devices, and there's a button on the comms devices that will ping me, Marcelo, a bunch of other people who can help you if you're in danger, if you see Eclipse or anyone else. Please hit that button, and I can teleport to you immediately and hopefully get you out of that danger. This is why it's really important to keep your comms devices on at all times. I've also been given a note from Waters about a weather alert. I'll just read it word for word here. The Solace Weather Services has issued a severe weather alert for the following areas: Moontouch Kingdom, Kindlegrim, 23:12 tonight, effective until 8:30 the following day. So severe weather, be careful. I haven't really been given more than that. It seems to just be a He's thunderstorm looking with straight a down into possible this. threat of a hurricane later on, so that's fun. Just be careful. Shouldn't be too much of a big deal. And thank you to everyone who participated in the Remembrance Day. I've been just thinking about that. It was really special. I think having those lanterns was nice. We should do that every year. There's not really much coming up. There are a few things that I can't talk about right now, but yeah, the floor is open for anyone who would like to come up and say anything. Not my cough. Unless there's no one.
Yeah, this is awkward.
Well, I'd like to personally welcome Comet back. I think you were hospitalized for a little bit. I've been thinking of running a baking class. I don't know if anyone would be interested in that. And nobody say anything about the whole baking thing. I don't bake that much. I posted my schedule out there. You all saw it. But if anyone wants a class, I mean, that would be something, I think, fun for bonding for everyone. I can run that. I can make banana bread. I can make killer banana bread. I like how you did the voice. That's
I
good.
do enjoy to bake.
What does that mean? I can make chocolate bread too. I can teach whatever. I've been baking for a while now. I think I've gotten really good at it. Did someone say something? Bob, I don't want to have to escort you out. Would anyone be interested in a baking class? I'll schedule that for next week. Okay, if anyone has anything else to say before we finish up the meeting. Oliver.
I don't know what it is, or if there's like, I don't even know how to explain it, but just yesterday, I was, I'm just gonna say injured, because I don't know how else to explain it, and I saw something, I don't know what, that looks, well, it can't be because they're dead, but like looks like light, and I don't know what it was, but I watch out, because I don't know if there's like impersonators, or if there's, I don't know what they are, but I saw light first, I don't know.
That is, were you able to talk to them? Whoever it was?
They walked away after that. I mean, they helped me, but then they just left? I don't know what it was.
Well, were you with someone or were you by yourself?
No, I was by myself.
Okay. It could have been anyone. You know, we know people like, well, we know that there are people who have the capability of appearing like other people, so please make sure you stay with other Ginger people.
Bob.
This is one of the protocols we put in place for a reason. If they were dangerous, they could have hurt you and there would have been no one to help. And remember the comms devices. If this happens again, you can hit that emergency panic button.
I noticed that Lucky wasn't here.
I actually, I've been patrolling around the area, and I haven't seen Lucky in, a while.
Oh, do you
That's
think
weird.
Do you think something happened?
Oh, I hope not, but I think we should go check it out. and
Bob is
see.
next.
Okay. I think I remember where to go.
Mhm.
Let's go.
It'll be probably in-game and written.
Oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see barricaded.
Yeah, Lucky's not here. Yeah, ignore that. It's
Mm,
yeah. Same reaction.
there's paper still around the floor.
Yeah.
To look.
Next for whatever I feel like doing to Bob.
Yeah, she's not here. Ignore that. Ignore that. That's not anything. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think Lucky's anywhere.
Mm. Okay, let me check around.
Yeah, let's check.
Yeah, I don't see any struggle or anything.
This is really weird.
Right
There's
there
a
is
new
a
path.
there's
Though.
yeah, I was about to say that.
Okay, let's stick a little closer together because we're really in the forest. Okay.
Pieces. Reese's Pieces.
Okay,
I want
Okay,
Reese's
that's a
hole.
pit.
Pieces right
That is a
now.
pit. Feather, back up from the pit.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like it ends here. Let me look
Okay.
at it again.
is that blood?
I think that is blood,
Okay.
but it. Okay,
um,
do not get near it. I'm just gonna. Yeah, this looks like blood. So
It's
do
just
not
it's
get
so-
near it.
Okay, yeah. Let's go back.
You stay in front of me just in case.
Oh,
something-
so I'm the sacrifice.
No, just in case something. I can see right in front of me. So if anything comes from behind, you're
I'll
gonna
just
be
look
safe.
behind you though.
Okay, you just hit the.
The thorns. This circus still amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
Just got hit by a fence there. Okay. I see
Wonka.
he's still.
Honka.
Lucky
Oliver?
Oliver. Hi, Oliver.
Hi, Oliver.
Oh, hi.
It was great
Hi.
to see you.
It's good to see you guys too. I haven't,
We were wondering, have you
Um,
seen Lucky anywhere?
not around the circus recently, no. Last time I saw them was at the cabin.
Oh. We're trying to find Lucky because we went to the cabin and Lucky's not there.
Yep, they're missing in action. We checked around the location. We found a pit.
You're sure they're not anywhere near their house?
Yeah,
we
we checked. We checked.
Okay, we can check the therapy hole. They can
The
come here
what
sometimes.
hole?
The what hole?
What?
I think I might need this hole.
Lucky?
Lucky.
Lucky?
I don't.
Lucky.
Lucky.
I don't.
Yeah, Lucky's.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
down
Lucky's
there.
100% not down there.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
7, Frog. Good luck on your classes.
Magos?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you know where Lucky is?
Oh yeah, they're currently located in this facility. They fell through a spike trapping and got kind of impaled, and not to toot my own horn, but I heroically saved them.
I saw those spikes. Well done. Great job. Great job.
Yeah.
Well done.
Like how badly impaled?
Like, through the shoulder, basically.
Oh!
Okay.
Oh! Can we
I mean,
see
ouch,
Lucky?
but I mean, at least
I
it
mean,
wasn't
you could
like
see them.
fatal.
I believe they're on the second floor. Seems we walked in on something.
Lucky.
Hey,
What are you guys
Lucky.
doing?
Seems we
We're just
walked in.
checking up on you.
Mm.
Why would you go out by yourself?
Okay, get out of my
What's wrong
face.
with you?
Get out of my face.
Thank
Why are
you
you so mean?
for your services.
Face? I'm sorry. Just get out of my face, please. I don't like being here.
Ow.
Why are all three of you here, actually? Because I
got-
don't need this right now.
I got worried because you weren't there at the faction meeting, and then we went to your cabin and like you weren't there, and then we wandered around, found a pit that had blood in it, and then we went to go
So
find
you-
Oliver.
So you worried, and then you brought Feather and Oliver. That's fantastic. Great. Thank you. That's great.
Why would they not bring me?
I don't want to have this conversation with you.
What happened?
Oh my! What happened?
I am dumb, and I fell in a pit trap, so that happened.
Must hear a lot of tea going on in these
yeah.
halls.
Yeah. I am swimming in it.
Lucky
You
is
should
shut the door on
screaming
me.
in the
Your
room.
sleep.
Lucky.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, shut the door on me and have a conversation. What am I, 5?
I'm just gonna ask Lucky real quick.
Be secretive.
You know, kind of like you, Magos. Lucky,
Yeah.
Feather, do
What
not
are you
sing.
hiding?
when Feather and I were at your cabin, I noticed that the fire was out for your fireplace.
Great.
So the entrance to that lab is pretty exposed.
Would you? You should totally do me a favor and go
That's
fix
a
that
very-
when you can.
I'm not real good with fire. I'll have Feather.
Okay.
do
Yeah.
that.
No. That's fine. That's fine. Just leave it. Not many people go down there, anyways.
Should we have checked down there just to make sure no one's down there? Or
I mean, I don't think anyone is. If you want, you could check up on my mice because they're down there. But
okay.
I'd rather you not mention it to Oliver either, because like I don't want him to know about the lab. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. We'll go fix that. Okay. Okay. Bye
You guys are like hawks. Just, like, you know, like when a little kid walks up to an aquarium in a store and just. That is you two.
Thank you,
Who?
Magos? Yeah.
Yes.
Mangoes.
Thank you. Mangoes. Did you just shake your head at me?
Well,
I saw your head
Magos-
just like ever so slightly go. Okay, I'm getting spooked out. Come on, Feather, let's go. Let's go,
Well,
Oliver.
if you need any better security, call
Let's
me.
go. Let's go.
Alright.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's
I'd
run,
never-
actually. Let's run.
Bob.
How do you feel about this rug?
It's a bear's rug. Bear skin.
I didn't notice that before. You know, I think I'm gonna take a quick chill outside for a bit. It's nice outside.
Yeah, how about this? You stay outside and me and Frog look around.
It's like the worst decision ever. Like, you gotta go stay out there and protect Oliver. I'm just gonna cover this up. Actually, can you do it? I'm kind of scared to. Okay, unless you want to go down there. I don't know if
I'm gonna make sure there's nothing down there.
Okay. Turn up in snow. Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Just-
Come on. Yep. I have the mice. Let's go. Actually,
Yeah,
can you take
but
one?
I'm-
I can't one hit.
Yeah,
I can't
give me-
zero hand the ladder. Take
Thank
one
you.
of them. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to report this.
go. Do not report that. Hey, we got the mice.
Here you
Oh,
go.
great.
Okay, let's go.
Pretend there are mice. My
Well, we're
imagination
never
is
gonna
limited,
talk
but
about-
I am doing it.
Knock knock. I'm just gonna open this. Hey, Lucky. I brought your mice, so here you go.
Thank you. Did you not bring a cage?
Well, I mean, they kind of just sit on your shoulder most of the time, so I didn't know if they needed a cage.
Wait, pause for a second.
Dude, where are you?
Where is
I just see the corner of my screen. I just see all y'all's name tags. Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, they're
Okay,
on the
Brosen,
second
Brosen
floor. Okay, so they're in that. I forgot about that. And here is Lucky.
Oh.
It was. Thank you.
Restart. I
I opened the door and I just,
It was-
you know, just.
It was supposed to be like I was thinking, that she was like bored out of her mind, and
Delivering what?
I wasn't alone. I had
You wasn't
Scarab number 57,
Oh my
Scarab number 52, Scarab number 3,
Mm-hmm.
67.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
What happened?
Bagel is so.
what is happening? What the freak?
Trying so hard not to laugh.
Well, hold on. Oh,
How does that happen?
Hold on, I'm taking a picture.
Bagel, do you see this?
Oh yeah, electric vehicle discharge.
Lucky, stop staring.
Why do you look kind of like a
Bagel
dog
is
now?
so funny.
Ugh.
Some sort of warring creature or two.
You're right.
Goddamn waterbenders.
I mean, to be fair,
How many things
Lucky
I've seen
ripped off the phone from the wall.
Oh, seems I've been getting a call from your mother as well.
How mad are you? Are you okay?
Didn't figure out the phone. I'm not mad.
You ripped it off
freaking
the
out right now.
wall.
Please get out of my room.
Okay. Why'd you put it?
Do I have to
It's not
pay for
even an
that too?
emergency phone anymore. It's just too
I
high
can't
up.
even reach it.
Do I have
Bagel
to pay
is
for that
so
too?
witty. I cannot wait for the Marcella v. Magos trial. Alright, we have audio from Transformers Cyberverse, Season 3, Episode 9. Or theoretical Gossip Girl hangout to cancel the angst for this week. Zinnia, Mira, Truffle, Marcella, Rando, and me.
Where's Perceptor?
Well,
Where's Perceptor?
He's coming!
Wait. So funny.
Where's Perceptor?
He's coming! I'll get him!
Oh, that's too good. I need Virgil's profile picture to be this right now. Also, his face is killing me. Oh, that's amazing. The Dragon. Magos lore. Magos Solvex traverse the ancient caves of Orion. They are considered endless unless you are one of the Oliek's chosen mortals. How long had he been walking? His foot landed on ancient steel, and ahead of him laid a temple. Where are the other Magos? The others Magos? His family would have these sacred places guarded. Solvex traveled up the steps of Oliek's temple. The machine dragon's head that once laid in this temple was now in ruins. The pieces of its skull had formed a throne with someone on it. This intruder had destroyed everything. Solvex had to avenge his god. As he approached, the figure became more clear. A giant skeleton with steel armor and cybernetics tendrils that connected him to the throne. Fear had overtaken Solvex, and that is when it spoke. Why do you look so afraid? Are you not happy with my return? Or did you expect me to shower your people in cleansing radiation? Did your people expect me to be a perfect being? I am a god that your people made me, and I am a cruel and merciless god. The air caught fire, and Solvex felt what was left of his flesh burned to ash. Magos had awoken in his bed from his bed, in a cold sweat. Had that been all just a dream or a vision? Magos's hands shook as he opened the door of his office. He needed fresh air. We need a doctor? Yeah. Sometimes I think about making like, there's the 2-character limit or whatever, but I think I'm gonna remove it down to 1 again next season. This is just too many 2 characters. Everyone's making a 2nd character. I'm tempted to make a 2nd character that's a doctor. Bob meets Zinnia. I was sitting at the front desk of the library, reading through more of the files I had obtained on my journey. This place was technically supposed to be available to the public, but almost no one ever showed up. I wonder why. That could be due to many people knowing where it is. That's okay with me, though. It gives me more time to do my work. This is the only time I get to nowadays. Comet and I have been training so much that I barely have time to read through everything. Maybe it's a sign to give up my search. I've been through so many planets, and yet nothing. There could truly be no humane way to get my wings back. Bagel goes by the Asian naming thingy where last names were put before first names. Yeah, that's what I figured. With the last document where he was like, I don't know why people keep going by my my family name, Magos, instead of Solvex. Become the Dr. Freya, have Freya be smart as hell? She could! It would take her probably a really long time. I mean, she's really smart. She could probably become a doctor in like 4 or 5 years, but kind of need someone with medical stuff already. Anyway. Suddenly, I am wrenched out of my own train of thought as the doors to the library burst open and a beam of light strikes my face abruptly. I look up to see a woman standing in the doorway, looking around. She's slowly walking further into the building while looking down each aisle. When she's about halfway to my desk, I ask her, "Can I help you with finding something?" I seem to have startled her as my voice echoes around the mostly hollow shell of the building. She looks directly at me and walks over while asking, "Is Comet here today?" Maybe it was the fact that Comet had just gotten hurt, or that they had been attacked here before, but my immediate thought was danger, so I asked, "Why do you want to know?" She looked startled by my question and a little hurt, so she replied with, "Oh, I just wanted to talk to them and see how they're doing." Still being on edge, I questioned her further. "Who are you? Did Violence send you? Eclipse?" She looked around even more scared now and said quickly, No, nothing like that. My name is Zinnia, and I'm a friend. Well, not exactly a friend, more like an acquaintance of Comet. I just think they're really cool, and I wanted to see if they were okay after what happened." Feeling bad now, and realizing I started off on the wrong foot, I dropped all my suspicions. "Oh, you're the Zinnia who gave Comet the cookies, right. They told me how happy they were to receive a gift like that from a friend." Zinnia, sensing a shift in my attitude, quickly cheered up and responded. "Wait, really? They said that? They said that exactly? They called me a friend?" Zinnia was grinning from ear to ear as I nodded my head. "Well, any friend of Comet is a friend of mine," I said. Realizing I hadn't properly introduced myself, I stuck out my hand and gave them my name. "My name's Bob. I'm the other librarian who works here." Zinnia shook my hand, much happier than before. Zinnia then started rambling on about how cool Comet was and how awesome it was that they fought Eclipse. She continues talking about how she wants to be just as awesome as they are and be able to fight bad guys just like them. I smile, realizing the good nature of her. I wish this world weren't so broken and there were more people like her. People who genuinely just wanted to do the right thing. Even if I don't fit into that category, but at least I can help someone who does. I then tell her, "You know, if you really want to learn how to fight, there are some books over there on different fighting techniques." As I say this, I point to the aisle where I remember putting some books she would need. She thanks me, but doesn't look truly satisfied, but won't say it out loud. I can tell what she wants, though, so I say, "It's hard to learn to fight when you're stuck reading a book, though. My recommendation is to ask Comet to teach you. They would probably say yes." Zinnia looks at me like I just gave them all of my money. She says quite loudly and happily, "Really?" As I nod, they start jumping up and down, clearly ecstatic. They start thanking me profusely over and over again. As I calm them down, I tell them they can come back anytime, and I tell them they can message my communicator to see if Comet is here in advance. Zinnia nods and says okay, her smile not leaving her face. As she starts heading to the door, I tell her one last thing. "Want to know a secret? Comet is also the coolest person I've ever known." Zinnia's smile somehow grows even wider, which I didn't think was physically possible, and finally leaves me back to my books. This will be a fun story to tell Comet. Aww. Yeah, probably that's what I was thinking, because I mean, like, there's, you know, there's tons of doctors. I mean, like, my character that was on the Arcturus, who died, so I can't bring her back, sadly, was a doctor in the room for a while, like a traveling doctor, so do something like that. Or just have one straight from the core. Anyway, but, you know, I want to, I'm, unless I have a really, really good idea, I am not having a second character, because Freya, I want to focus on one character at a time, you know? I already don't put enough stuff for Freya. The 8th entry, for our future. I'm an existence that can't be separated from my tree, a dryad, but I am only half dryad, so if it's for her, I'll sacrifice the tree. It's funny to think that a dryad is thinking of destroying his own tree, but well, I am half demon after all. And if Anima, or well, Sanguis, now can be of any help, guess I'll become a full demon. As my memory is clearer now, and back when Anima was Sanguis, he once mentioned in passing, when I first realized I was a dryad, an old ritual he read about that would make a dryad human, back when his subject of research was still misguided in trying to make a vampire human. In the end, the reason I'm going to try this is one, to be able to make a proper home with her, and 2, that dryads can only have children with other dryads under normal circumstances, And well, Artemis isn't a dryad, but I want there to be that option in the future also. So she doesn't have to stay at the tree for me. You just met like a month ago. I'm telling you, these two, Nyx is a little too obsessed. Don't give up your tree so that you can have children with this person you just met a month ago. Slow down. This is the opposite of slow burn. This is fast. This is poof. The Kid-kun speech. Balios and Zephyr entered the church of MTK, walking beside each other as if a few weeks ago they hadn't tried killing each other. Balios had called a meeting in the faction, so Zephyr and Balios began to set up. When the two finished, they took to the stage and he set his notebook on the podium. As people began to enter, his eyes stayed on two people, Frog and Light, his friends, his family. Balios thought about this decision. He knew Light would probably have something to say. He waited until everyone was seated before he began to speak, looking at his notes and clearing his throat, and looking back up at everyone. Welcome, everyone. I'm glad to see everyone well enough to join us for this meeting. He paused, looking over the room. He could see the confusion as this was the first meet MTK had ever done, no matter what had happened. Over the past week, we experienced a storm and some damage to our faction, but it is good to see people coming back and helping to rebuild. Balios glanced down at his notes, taking a deep breath to try and calm his nerves. He looked back up at the crowd. He looked at Light, then at Frog, then to the aisle. Today I am sad to announce that I will be stepping down as your leader. He paused. He looked at Frog. He saw the sadness in her eyes as well as the panic. He then looked at his sister. He saw the way her wings puffed up in panic. Light's mind was racing with the possible new leaders. Then her eyes landed on Zephyr. There's no way Balios would choose him after what he did. Balios felt a pang of concern for her, but this had to be done. I put this faction in too much danger if I were to stay. I have a debt that I have to pay, and I can't and won't have anyone around when something happens. I know this is sudden and can't be taken out of context with the storm that just happened, but I would rather you have someone who won't put the members of this faction in danger, and so I will be having Zephyr take my place as leader. He stepped away from the podium, taking his notebook with him. Zephyr stepped up to the podium to speak, but Balios didn't stay. He just forced a smile and walked out of the building. Light jumped up and followed him, obviously wanting to know why her brother was being an idiot. Frog tried to listen to Zephyr, but didn't last that long after Light ran. She jumped up, shifting into her dog form and chasing after the two. The moment they reached the path outside the church, Light grabbed Balios' wrist to stop him. Frog was at Light's side. She kept her gaze on the two, when something in the corner of her eyes caught her attention. Balios, what the hell are you doing? Why are you making him the leader after all he has done? He literally tried to kill you. He also hurt me and almost hurt Frog and Kron. He was the only one I could put as a leader. You always put too much on your plate, and I wasn't going to add to that. Frog barely stays here or has any type of leadership qualities. Zephyr was a leader before my planet heard of his leadership. He was a good leader, and I know of the shit he's done, but he's also helped me. What could that bastard have done to make up for what he did? He showed me how to ascend. Well, kinda. The point is, he has a tiny part of why you're back. You wouldn't be standing here mad at me like usual if you didn't tell me to ascend, and I know that probably doesn't help much with what he has done, but Light, I have you back because of his help. That's why I'm trusting him. His gaze flickered to Frog, noticing her staring at something, but he didn't know what she was looking at. But Frog saw something pink staring back at her, its form like an animal. She shook her head before looking up towards Balios. You expect me to live near the fucker that electrocuted me twice? No, I am not doing that. She couldn't finish her words. She just stared up at Balios angrily and a bit hurt. She took a deep breath before staring Balios in his eyes, before she continued. If he's in charge, then I'm going to live with Waters until you come to your senses. Balios sighed before he spoke. Fine, just keep an eye on the place, because I know you probably already will, since you called this place home. And don't try to dethrone Zephyr. He has temper issues, as we've seen. He failed miserably with that joke, and in return, Frog jumped up and nipped his wrist, as a sign that it was a terrible joke. Balios pulled his hand up, muttering a shit, before he hugged the two and turned around and walked to his tower. Balios walked into the tower. He grabbed a bag and began packing. He packed food, clothes, and other things he might need. He grabbed an unlit lantern and walked around his tower once more, going through the floors to make sure he had everything he would need. He then exited his tower and began heading southeast from MTK. The further away from people, the better. The further away from Waters, even better. After much walking, he was getting tired. He reached a riverbank and he sat on the dirt. He wanted to get away from the water quickly, but he wasn't tired. He didn't want to rest either because he hadn't traveled far, so he did something he hasn't done for years, ever since his father called him weak for traveling like some druidic peasant. He stood, picked up his lantern, lit it, and took off his bag. He rolled up his sleeves as gray fur began to sprout on his arms and legs. His fox ears grew longer and his nose and mouth formed a snout. His hands and feet turned into paws, and his legs bent causing him to fall on all fours. Black and gray striped fur began to cover his entire body. 2 tails formed from his tailbone, and they were floofy. He sat down and tried multiple times to get the bag into his paws so he could put it around his neck, so he could carry it more easily. After a bit, he got it. He picked up the lantern in his mouth and took a step onto the water, his paw hovering over the surface of the river. He then began to walk slowly, to get used to 4 legs instead of 2. He then began a soft trot, continuing through jungles and across rivers. There are calms between storms. Seems like an unfinished tab. The family tree is growing. We do need this. I need to see this family tree. Found family tree is crazy. I feel more fear than I have felt since that fatal day. This is from Oliver. Except nothing has happened to cause such. Poor Frog is in mourning. Oliver technically doesn't know that Light is alive. And I'm being selfish avoiding them. The tea invites have sat unsent on my table as I have not been able to gain up the courage to let Frog into my home. And lucky the poor thing is in the hospital, but all they want to talk about recently is their experiments in those gloves. I just can't. I can't even look at them. I feel terrible because these are my friends, but every time I see them, they just remind me of him. Every single time. And Valentine's Day is coming up. Another year of hoping Pharaoh's magically appears, and yet another year of fearing that the other will instead. The one that's haunted my thoughts of my friends like the plague. Every time I see Lucky's hands, I see his, and every time I see Frog's face, I see his gaping smile. I just wish for this eternal fear to leave my body, and someone, anyone, to talk to that doesn't remind me of that man. From Light, a bad day. This will contain a few curse words, violence, not the clown, mention of blood, a flashback, a minor panic attack, and minor to moderate torture. Light is having a bad day, you've been warned. Oh my god. Light was having an awful day. She had been at the meeting for the Moontouch Kingdom, only to find that it had been to announce that Zephyr was to take it over. She protested this change, of course she did. She didn't trust Zephyr at all, especially after he had attacked Balios. And now her brother was handing over leadership to someone who had hurt her. She had chased after Balios with Frog and tried to tell him how bad of a fucking idea this was. He wouldn't listen to her. He even joked about it. Frog bit his wrist for it. And Zephyr had helped Balios revive her. She was going to make sure the bastard got hurt for it later. Light felt like she had lost her brother, and she had noticed that he'd been injured. From a faraway glance, maybe even close up, it would pass his injuries from the hurricane, but Light was observant, possibly too observant for her own good. There were little things, little hints that stood out to her, small deviants and bruise patterns that didn't match up with what she knew. Some just looked too perfect. It was small details, but it fed Light's worry. After the meeting, she went straight home and made sure Waters ate something for lunch and took a nap. She chose not to mention what had happened at the meeting, choosing instead to say simply that she wouldn't be going back to the Moontouch Kingdom for a long while. Then she left again for a shift at the hospital. It was a long double shift. Not as long as she should work for. She needed to do something, to be busy. Her mind was too foggy that day, and she didn't want to be still somewhere. She needed to do something. She needed to work. A difficult patient had come in for a minor injury. They weren't actively bleeding out or seriously sick. It was a fucking paper cut. They were made to wait while other, more high-risk patients were taken back. The Light was stopped by the person. They were yelling. Light was trying to calm them down. She was trying to de-escalate the situation. It didn't work. They attacked her, punching her ribs. She was back in that torture chamber. She couldn't breathe. She was pretty sure that a broken rib had punctured one of her lungs. Yui couldn't move. She was bound in place to a chair. Her wrists were raw from her attempts to free herself. Her body ached from the spell her captors used against her. Light. A door opened. There was her ex-girlfriend, Willow. Light. Aw, look at you, still alive after all we'd put you through. The bitch's voice grated on Yui's nerves. And you still chose to help your father. I'm helping no one, Yui spat out. I'm a healer, a neutral party. I do not speak of war plans to anyone. Willow laughed. She took out a dagger from her belt, the very same one Yui had given her years ago. Well, my defiant little moon lily, I suppose I have no use for you then. The dagger was in Yui's throat, being pulled across it as it cut deep into the flesh. She was dying. She couldn't breathe. Blood was choking her. Light! Light snapped out of her mind with a scream that rattled everyone. She clutched at her throat, her hands shaking. There was no cut, no blood. Only a golden scar. She couldn't get enough air. The feeling was familiar. Light cursed her luck. One of her ribs had broken and now it had punctured her lung. She let her fellow nurses fuss over her and help get her somewhere safer while the guard dealt with the irate patient. It was truly an awful day. Poor Light. Couldn't post this last week because someone timed me out for a week twice. I wonder what could have caused that. This better not say I made you look. I used to think my brain and I were on the same side. That's the part that hurts me the most now, realizing when it stopped being true. There wasn't a single moment I could point to. No dramatic snap, just small betrayals, missteps. Laughing when nothing was funny. My hands moving a half second before I told them to. It started the spring after my 26th birthday. I remember because I dropped the cake knife and laughed so hard I had to sit down. Everyone else froze, waiting for the punchline. My sister asked if I was okay. I nodded, still laughing, wiping tears from my eyes, pretending my chest didn't hurt from how hard the sound was forcing itself out of me. Guess I'm overtired, I said. I started using that excuse a lot. At work, my fingers shook when I typed, just enough to cause mistakes. I'd correct them quickly, heart racing, convinced everyone could hear the tapping tremor beneath my skin. When my boss cracked a joke in a meeting, I laughed too long, too loudly. The room went quiet around me. Oh, rip Oliver, sorry. After that, people began watching before they spoke, like they were checking the ground for cracks. Walking home became an exercise in concentration. Left foot, right foot, don't rush. The sidewalk felt unreliable, like it might slide out from under me if I wasn't careful. Sometimes my legs jerked for no reason, and I'd laugh, again, that sharp involuntary bark, because if I didn't laugh, I might scream. One night, rain soaked through my jacket and I flagged down a taxi. The driver slowed, window lowering just enough to look over me. My hands were shaking badly then, my mouth tugging itself into a smile I didn't authorize. He frowned. You alright? I tried to answer. My words came out slurred, tangled. You can't get in the back seat. It'll drive me insane, he replied. You and your brain. Huh? Why does the taxi driver know who he is? The car drove off, tires hissing through puddles. I stood there laughing under a flickering streetlight. Me and my brain? The sound echoing too loudly in the empty street. A man across the way stared like I was something dangerous. Me and my brain? At home, I began recording voice memos. Proof, I told myself. Evidence that I was still thinking clearly, even if my body disagreed. Listening back was worse. My speech wavered. Pauses stretched too long. Sometimes I laughed halfway through a sentence and couldn't remember why I'd started talking. My doctor suggested stress, then anxiety, then monitoring it. Monitoring became watching myself disappear in inches. I stopped going out. People flinch when you laugh at funerals, at apologies, at nothing at all. My reflection started to feel unfamiliar. Eyes too bright, expressions lagging behind my thoughts like bad subtitles. My limbs twitched at night, jerking me awake, my own body sabotaging rest. The worst part wasn't the fear, it was the betrayal. I'd think, stand up, and my knees would buckle. I'd think, be quiet, and laughter would explode out of me, cruel and loud. It felt like sharing my skull with someone who hated me. Some nights I pressed my palms against my head, like I could physically hold my thoughts in place. Please, I'd whisper, not to anyone, just to whatever part of me was still listening. There are moments, brief, merciful ones, when everything lines up again. When my hands are steady, when my thoughts are clear. I cling to those moments like proof I'm still here, but they never last. Now when I laugh, I don't fight it anymore. Fighting only makes it worse. I sit with it, let it tear through me, and wait for the silence afterward. In that quiet, I take inventory. Name objects, remember my name. Remember that I am not the noise my brain makes. I don't know how this ends. I only know that every day feels like a negotiation, and I'm running out of leverage. Where is my brain? From CJ, violence and slightly disturbing imagery, and probably annoying secret stuff. Alright. This is the last one. The tree stump was unrooted from the loose soil and replaced with a fresh sapling to grow in its place. Pale oak trees usually grow to average size in about 2 to 3 weeks. Croy let out a soft breath as he placed the stump in a pile with others, beside another pile of the trunks of fallen trees. He wasn't too sure what to do with them now. Maybe if he wanted to build any structures, or maybe firewood for Kron. Probably firewood. There's enough to last an hour and a half. The ghost's head turned towards the forest, just about seeing the familiar red crown through the dull trees. His ears sank a little. Was Kron back home yet? You posted translations? Thank you. I did see that earlier. He hadn't sensed anyone in the forest ever since he got back. Maybe they're with someone to keep them company. Yeah, maybe Zinnia or Frog. Actually, probably with Light. Oh wait, never mind. Not Light. His chest tightened softly with the reminding thought. Oh gods, he left Kron alone to deal with that. He promised he wouldn't leave. What will people think of him? What will Kron think of him? He shook his head firmly. No. No. There's no time for what-ifs. He needed to guard. He needed to wait. Kron will come back on their own. They will. The ghost had just had to guard until the time he's waiting for comes. He let out a soft breath, pulling a drop of tar from his eye and stretching it to a loop, pulling back his hair and tying it up while slowly making his way towards the red tree that marked Kron's home, where they were created. The orange particles that dispersed from its crown twirled and hovered around the area, growing more consistent as the ghost arrived before it. He slowly walked around until he found an entrance into the trunk, taking the hold of the vine and sliding down into the bunker below. Nothing had changed drastically. It was a little more cluttered, books open on the floor, candles burned out so much that the wax stuck to the surface as they were upon. A disc was left in the jukebox, soft scratches from it continuously spinning despite the fact the song was finished. Some teddies were stacked in a tower in the corner, a cobweb connected to the wall, and the pig teddy on the top of the tower. Kron's normal clothes were folded and left atop a chest, having been left there since the winter ball. Croy had intended to wash them after the event, to try and get the giant red stain on the front out, to patch up some of the tears in the trousers and try to reattach the buckle to the leather of the belt. He never got to. Kron must still be wearing their clothes from the ball. The thoughts made guilt swell up even more in the ghost's chest, his face turning away while taking a breath. That's when he caught sight of his projector, resting on a shelf in front of a bookshelf. The lens was missing, only shards of glass remaining, and the stand was propped up against the wall, having been snapped off the base of the projector. Croy had never gotten the chance to fix it. He lifted the projector into his hands to inspect it, to try assess if he even could fix it at this rate. But once he did, a book from the bookshelf behind it fell over from its slot, the pages flicking open and revealing the words written there. Croy paused as his attention flicked down to it, squinting partly. His vision was still dark from being at the core for a while. He still needs to figure out how long he was there before. Croy placed the camera down on top of a workbench nearby before picking up the fallen book, moving to a lantern to help him read what was there. It appeared to be written conversations, back and forth throughout a number of pages, but all of it was Kron's handwriting. Was Kron just writing their own thoughts down and making a conversation with it? No, the other's handwriting was different, messier, less coordinated. There were drawings, too. Croy's jaw set, closing the book with a soft thump, before tucking it into the void of his chest, the item sinking into the abyss. His movements were slow as he climbed the vine to the surface once more, stepping out onto the red gradient of grass and moss. The ghost moved over to the roots protruding from the ground that had spread further than he remembered. The ghost appeared to be leaving things be. His hand found a long vine, wrapping it around his wrist once while still holding it in a firm grip, sharply yanking at it. That's when he felt it. Heard it. I knew it. Croy's body turned back to the crimson tree, his grip never wavering. It was hard to tell what specifically he meant by that. What did he know about? What was he hearing? What was he seeing? The reason for all of this, I was right all along. He gave a sharp yank on the vine again, the tree shuddering sharply. But no gust of wind came through to cause that. A small rip had formed near the top of the leafy rope, where it protruded from the clumped crown. His facial expression, although it didn't change, it held a sense of firmness. Not so fun being on the other end, is it? Now tell me, what in the God's name do you think you are doing? The ghost's words were spoken in a low manner, which made his deformed voice suit in with unnervingly silent environment a little more, as if it was the very garden whispering for the whole kingdom to hear, or a repeat curiosity, encouraging the silent answer hidden from the rest of the world, and awaiting Croy's response as the only one to hear. You have. I saw them. No, you were not just doing that. The ghost yanked on the vine again. His ears twitched as he alone heard the response. The vine ripped more. A hint of satisfaction flickered in his mind. What makes you think you deserve to do that? Waters has an actual kid? Oh my gosh. Ugh, I missed when you weren't such an I have a dream type of person, or being able to drain that out of you. Answer me, why are you trying to do this again? Corey went silent after that, his free hand clenching at his side. He stepped closer to the tree, punctures where his fingertips lay forming on the surface of the red vine. A dark red fluid dripped out from the small openings. You expect sympathy from me? With everything you... With a sharp yank, the vine broke from its rooted spot in the crown, the particles puffing out in thick clusters. Croy's ears flinched, hearing something thunderous. A shape squirmed at the heart of the trunk, as if something was clawing from the inside. I should finish what I started. Croy faltered, the face in the tree stretching out, jaw unhinged, strings of red dangling from its maw. It flickered like a dying flashlight before falling back and away, splatters of red mush left in its wake. The ghost's chest rose and fell slowly yet deeply, his hand resting within the void of his chest, fingers grappled around the handle of the hammer protected and hidden within. What? Croy slowly stepped back, taking a deep, sharp breath. He dropped the vine and retracted his grip before turning and walking off, hidden words repeating in his mind. Hmm? Oh, it's this. I see, and I know that Light has given the translation, which is, ow, you bastard deer. Took you long enough, Alfie. Oh, I see. It's because Corey's the only one that could hear. Anyway, well, whatever. Took you long enough, Alfie. A backbone, huh? I thought that I broke that a long time ago. Full of surprises as always. I haven't done anything. Oh, isn't that lovely? Well, we were just talking, I assure you. Oh, no. Listen here. That thing called out to me. I just answered, and he listened. Because he didn't know what I was yet, and asked questions about if I dream and how many times I was gutted until I learned to breathe. Oh, by the gods, enough of what I've done. What, you come back from the dead and you think you're all righteous and chosen? I bet you rehearsed this, expecting the day we'd cross paths again. Puffed out chest, threats over my head, pretending that familiar fear isn't there. All I did was answer the boy's questions while his father was occupied with being the sick monster he is. Ah! You do that, your son dies. Why do you think he exists in the first place, Alfie? It's not just It's not just half of you in that body. Ooh. From Angel. Log number 2, starting a new exploration? No one tells you how tiring it is to explore. I've been walking for a couple days, exploring around. I think that the marketplace looks nice. I might go around to see some factions in about a month, maybe less. I'm not exactly ready to meet new people and let people back into my life after everything that happened. The last time I let someone into my life, like Onyx or Alfie, they died. I'm learning to accept that Alfie and I might not see each other or talk again, and while I'm not exactly okay with that, it's something I can live with. I'll write another log in a few days, I just have to see if I feel any better. From Truffle. A little birdie told me. My throat is killing me. It was finally the end of my shift. A few hours out of the hospital where I could do whatever I wanted. I should have technically called a guard to transport me wherever I needed to go, but I didn't really want to waste my time waiting on them when I could be eating, drinking, or resting. That, and I didn't really mind breaking the law. Speaking of food, I should probably eat something and get a drink before Light lectures me again. I really wouldn't want a repeat of Thursday. While I could go to the tavern near the hospital, he reminded me too much of Zenithra. I really didn't want the stress of being reminded about my still missing child on top of everything else happening at the hospital. I had heard about this bar, the Avian's Perch. It was apparently run by this person named Feather. I guess I could call her an acquaintance, but just barely. We'd only met a handful of times, typically at the utter failures of ballroom events. Sometimes I would see her at faction meetings and such. I do remember Frog mentioning her name during our hospital stay. The new orders Freya implemented had me even more anxious walking alone. Now instead of just worrying about whatever criminal was lurking around on Solace, I was worried about that on top of getting arrested. Sure, I wanted her to do something, but this was honestly a show of stupidity that I didn't even think she was capable of. Maybe I shouldn't focus on that right now. I had my dagger out just in case, but put it away as I came up to the entrance of the wood and stone building. The doorbell made a small chime when I opened it. The place was mostly empty, which made sense considering it was only about 1 in the afternoon. I sat down on a bar stool. The only other person sitting there and the only other person in the building was an odd man draped in black robes. He was passed out on the counter, but the blue-haired bartender didn't seem too concerned as she approached me. I half considered checking for a pulse before remembering that it would only be more work and I was off the job anyway. Hello, welcome to Avian's Perch. I'm Feather. What can I serve you today? She looked up at me as she asked. I just shrugged, setting my hands on the counter. Water and some warm food. That's it. Light might kill me if she finds out I'm not eating properly again, but I didn't really feel like cooking. She nods. One water and some pot roast coming right up. She went to work behind the counter. Oh, and don't mind him. She nodded her head towards the slouched figure at the end of the line of booth seats. He's named Brando, and he's alright. He's just got a case of narcolepsy. I nodded, still a bit concerned. Perhaps I could see about getting him some medicine from the hospital, but we would have to wait until later. We are a bit overwhelmed right now, to say the least. You seem a bit tense right now. Do you want an ear to talk to? She raised her eyebrows as she continued making the food. Everything felt like it just came crashing down, like a wave. Maybe that was a bad analogy considering the recent hurricane. Fuck yes. The hospital's been absolute hell lately. We have what? Around 6 nurses, including me, and then like 2 doctors? Doesn't it sound like we're equipped to handle dozens upon dozens of injured people? Hell no, we aren't. I've been working so much overtime, I might as well live in the hospital. Light's honestly really been the only one looking out for me aside from my other friend, except he can't really look out for me since he's watching the house. I felt a little bit out of breath from the rant. Feather looked concerned. Whoa there, buddy. That sounds very stressful. You must be quite strong-willed to go through all that by yourself. I'm impressed. She went over to refill my cup of water. I just continued screaming into what was essentially the void. Don't even get me started on my asshole of a boss. That glorified screw never Glorified screw? That's crazy. Never appreciates any of the time we put into working there. We aren't even being paid. I've been surviving off of trading the copper and rare metals for my landing pod, which are luckily a lot more valuable than I thought. The other nurses, aside from Light, are fine. This one, whose name I believe was Mars, was pretty helpful during the hurricane. But I swear, sometimes it's just me and Light running the place. Feather nodded in agreement. Magos, right? I met him several times before, when I was a patient at the hospital, at the winter ball. Oh, and when we went to check up on my cousin's friend Lucky. I let out a half-hearted laugh. Thoughts on that block of aluminum? My thoughts on him? Well, when we're not in a professional setting like the hospital, I think he's kind of cocky, ambitious, and condescending, but I would like to know him better to judge him as a person. Wow, so the rusting bucket of med isn't just a bitch to his staff, huh? You know, I should tell Light about that. Maybe tell the entire team while I'm at it. I'm so tired of that knockoff LED talking down to everyone. The insults are crazy. I love this. I'm assuming this happened recently as Lucky's in the hospital? I was ranting about my troubles. Feather gave me a steaming bowl of pot roast with a few branches of rosemary for a garnish. I tried chomping on the wood and leaves of a branch, but gagged at the texture. Before now, I had honestly thought that rosemary was a food rich people had just made up, like caviar. Feather looked at me with alarm. Wait, Truffle, you aren't supposed to eat that. It's used for garnish and seasoning. Ah, my bad. I've never really seen rosemary before. I would just make pot roast with nothing but beef, potatoes, carrots, and seasonings. Anyways, back to Lucky being in the hospital. She's gotten there relatively recently, right? I took bites of the food while listening to Feather. It was really good. Feather smiled at me. As for Lucky, she seems alright. She just fell into a pit full of spikes so that satyr can take a punch. I hope you're enjoying your meal. Free of charge for gossip. She's certainly healing well, although... I smirked. I have a feeling she'll be in the hospital a lot more. An odd, blue-skinned man walked in from the back of the tavern, just sitting at one of the back tables with his own bottle of something. I paid them no mind, but Feather spared him a glance before focusing back on the conversation at hand. Oh, that's Minnie. Don't mind him. He comes and goes whenever he pleases. Right. Well, if you're curious about gossip, then I'll assume you'll be interested to hear that Light was having a little chit-chat with Lucky just a few days ago. Oh, really? What type of little chat did they have? Feather leaned in. The kind of little chat that involves Light looking like a tomato. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe who was in the tavern the other night. Who? I normally didn't enjoy such conversations, especially with other people I did not know and therefore did not trust. But I found myself genuinely interested in what Feather had to say. Cam and Waters were here, and from what I can tell, they kind of have chemistry with each other. When I saw them looking into each other's eyes, I could tell that they would be nice for each other. Now, where had I heard that name before? Oh. Wait, Waters? I've only met him like once when I went on that tornado expedition, but I'm pretty sure I heard Light refer to him as her dad. Feather nodded in agreement. Waters does think of Light as a daughter, and her the same. It's heartwarming for me to see them as family. I also think of Waters as family in some way. I wonder how she'll react to Cam. Well, actually, what are your thoughts? I giggled at my own words. My thoughts on Cam? Well, I think he's really smart. I like his shiny hair. Oh, and how he tries to imitate flying. I snorted. You gonna steal his wig then? Is it really true that crows like shiny things? I've only heard about that stuff from, like, children's books. 1, no, I'm not going to steal his glorious weave. 2, yes, I love shiny things. I burst out laughing, wheezing really. Dang, boy, breathe, breathe. Feather pushed the glass of cold water towards me while laughing. I chugged it down, easing up the roughness of my throat. Ha, what time is it again? Feather paused to glance at the small electric clock near one of the barrels behind her. It's 12 a.m. Oh my god, Truffle was there for 11 hours. What? Sadly, it looks like I have to close up shop for now. For me to patrol the Keeper's land. As Feather talked to me, she walked around to where Rando was sleeping. Then she grabbed him by the shoulders, then screamed, "Wake up, old man! No more nap time!" I burst out laughing as Rando startled awake before making his way out of the tavern. It seemed that the odd blue-skinned man had also disappeared by now. Can I get a to-go bowl or something? Of course, Truffle. I carefully poured the pot roast into the plastic bowl before picking it up and heading to the door. Thanks again for the food. Oh wait, Truffle, I need to walk you home. Remember the 2-buddy system. That gave me pause, but at least Feather seemed trustable enough. Right, yeah, it's a bit of a walk though. Joker's Corner. Nah, it's completely fine. I need to patrol that area as well, Feather said with a smile. I then remembered that she is part of the guard. Ah, would you mind walking there with me? I got special permission to be out past sunset thanks to, me being a hospital staff. Sure thing, Truffle. I'm happy to help. As soon as we got a little bit away from the main area, I started getting anxious again. Thoughts of the search party and what's happened to others flooded my mind. I pulled out my dagger. Maybe it wouldn't do much, but at least I would be a bit safer. Feather seemed apprehensive when I pulled out my knife. She kept on staring at it as if I would attack her. Idiot. You act like I'm about to murder you in cold blood and throw your body out at the peak of that one massive mountain. Feather's eyes almost widened when I said that. Then she smiled. I would like to see you try that, Truffle. I would not. I would probably die. Don't you have a gun or something? She nods. Indeed, I do carry a gun at all times, just in case of something wrong happening. But I trust you, I trust you not to do anything bad to me. Well, we're nearly there. Mind if I go off to my house on my own? I didn't exactly want more people to know where my house is. That's alright. I think as long as you're near your home, you're alright. Stay safe out there, Truffle. I separated from Feather, who went to the edges of the faction land. My legs felt heavy as I walked, but at least my house was getting closer. I finally made my way in and collapsed onto the couch, finishing the now barely warm leftovers. I was surprised to see Chaos still awake. He invited me for some tea and a short reading of a new book he had bought. I fell asleep halfway through his reading of the 6th passage. Insult Maker. Mika, you've gotten a lot better at making insults. This is great. Alright, from Zenithra. And then we have a frog video to end it off. Although we do have some lore sheets. We'll read that first. Goo Man is here! Oh my god, he used his goo. Warning violence. Oh yeah, and Goo Man is here. He used his goo! He used his goo! He used his goo! Sorry, got a crumb on my mousepad. You're awakening, Cece. Probably. The morning had been ordinary, almost boring in its normalcy. Zenithra sat cross-legged on the floor of Lux's apartment, organizing a scattered pile of data chips while Lux hummed absently from the kitchen, preparing something that smelled vaguely like burnt toast. You know you're supposed to watch it, right? Zenithra called out. I am watching it, Lux replied unconvincingly. The knock at the door interrupted their comfortable routine. Lux glanced at Zenithra with a raised eyebrow before crossing to answer it. The person on the other side was tall, with purple skin, clearly off-world. Everyone from Solace is off-world. His eyes were curious, almost anxious. Lux? The stranger asked. I'm Cypher. Cypher! Different Cypher. I was told you might be able to help me. Lux's expression shifted to something guarded but not unfriendly. Help with what? I'm new to Solace. Been in hiding for a while, and I don't know much about how things work here. The factions, what's safe, what's not. Cypher shifted his weight nervously. I heard you know the planet well. Lux hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in, I can answer some questions. Zenithra watched as Cypher entered, taking in the apartment with careful eyes. He seemed harmless enough, just another off-worlder trying to navigate Solace's chaotic landscape. It was common here, people from dozens of planets all trying to survive together. Lux gestured for Cypher to sit, and the conversation began. Questions? I just heard Virgil go, oh my god. Questions about territories, about which factions controlled what. Standard stuff for someone trying to stay off the grid. Then Cypher's questions shifted. Have you ever heard of someone named Seraphine? Cypher asked, his tone carefully casual. I heard she used to live near this area. Zenithra's head snapped up. Their blood went cold. Lux's expression became guarded. Why are you asking about her? Cypher's eyes flickered, a sign of emotion, maybe nostalgia. I knew her, years ago during a war on our home planet. I was a general, she was just a child, a being of pure star power, caught in the crossfire. His eyes grew distant, almost wistful. I tried to protect her, kept her safe when I could. She was remarkable. I heard she died, but I also heard she had a child. I was hoping to find them, make sure they were okay. Seraphine would have wanted that. The words sounded genuine. His face looked sincere, but something about it made Zenithra's skin crawl. Lux glanced at Zenithra, uncertainty flicking across their face. I don't know anything about that. Are you sure? Cypher pressed gently. The kid would be young, probably have her abilities. The same power runs in bloodlines. His eyes swept the apartment, and for just a fraction of a second they landed on Zenithra. Zenithra returned to sorting the data chips, only half listening, until they felt it. That prickling sensation in the back of their mind. He's lying. Ambush's voice slithered into their thoughts, cold and certain. Zenithra's hand stilled. What? He's not here to help. Look at him. Really look. Zenithra glanced up, studying Cypher more carefully. The way his eyes darted to the exits. The way his hand kept drifting towards his jacket pocket. The way he spoke about Seraphine with familiarity. Too much familiarity. Familiarity, like he knew things he shouldn't. He didn't just protect her, he used her. A child made of star power. Do you know what that's worth? He was a general in that war, and she was his weapon. He acted kind, pretending to care, but he was using her to burn through enemy lines. He's the reason she had to run. The reason she's dead. You don't know that. Don't I? Ambush's presence pressed closer, insistent. He's here, sniffing around for you. He'll do the same thing. He'll take you back to use as a weapon. They'll dissect you, study you, use you up until there's nothing left. Ambush, you're one to talk. Zenithra's pulse quickened. They looked at Lux, who was carefully deflecting Cypher's questions, completely unaware of the danger. You can protect yourself. You should protect yourself. Seraphine couldn't stop him then, but you can stop him now. There has to be another way. There isn't. Not one where you survive. You know what you need to do. Zenithra felt their right hand begin to tingle, then burn. They knew what was happening, their shape-shifting ability responding to Ambush's will, to the violent intent flooding their mind. He won't see it coming. For Seraphine, for you. Will Lux understand? But Ambush didn't answer that. The voice just hummed with approval as Zenithra stood, watching their flesh ripple and twist. Their hand elongated, fingers fusing as bone and muscle restructured themselves. The skin hardened, sharpened, transforming into a gleaming blade that extended from their wrist. It hurt. It always hurt, but the pain was distant, muffled by Ambush's presence. Cypher was mid-sentence, talking about how Seraphine used to laugh when Zenithra moved. It happened fast. Muscle memory from learning swordsmanship. They crossed the distance in 3 steps, blade arm raised to strike. But Cypher's instincts kicked in at the last second. His eyes caught the movement, the gleam of the blade, and he threw himself sideways. The blade meant for his chest caught his shoulder instead, cutting deep. Cypher cried out, a raw, agonized sound, and his eyes flared bright with pain and adrenaline. He stumbled backwards, clutching his injured shoulder. What the? He didn't finish. Survival instinct took over. Cypher's good hand shot out, grabbing a lamp from the side table and swinging it hard at Zenithra's head. It connected with a crack, and Zenithra staggered, vision blurring for a moment. Zenithra, stop! Lux's voice cut through the chaos, but it was distant, meaningless. Cypher was backing towards the door, his face twisted in pain and terror. You're her kid, he gasped, realization dawning in his eyes. Just like her, that same power, his voice cracked. I was trying to help. I was kind to her. I kept her safe in the war. Don't let him finish, Ambush commanded. Don't let him say it. Cypher reached for something in his jacket. Maybe a weapon, maybe a comm device. But his injured arm wasn't responding properly. Zenithra lunged again, and this time Cypher tried to block it with his good arm. The blade struck true, and Cypher's scream was inhuman. The communicator he'd been holding clattered to the floor. Please, he gasped. I protected her during the war. I was kind to her. She was just a child. I never meant... Liar. He tried to run, tried to reach the door, but his legs gave out. He collapsed against the wall, sliding down. Zenithra approached slowly, blade ready. Cypher looked up at them with wide, terrified eyes. His hand pressed against his wounds. I'm sorry, he choked out. I'm sorry about your mother. I didn't... The blade struck with brutal force. Cypher's body jerked violently, his mouth opening in a silent scream. Zenithra pulled back and Cypher went still. The fight was over. Zenithra! Lux's voice finally broke through, sharp with horror. Zenithra stood frozen, their blade arms still extended. The apartment was a scene of violence. The overturned furniture, Cypher's motionless form against the wall, the evidence of the struggle everywhere. The apartment fell into terrible silence, broken only by Lux's ragged breathing. What did you do? Lux whispered, staring at the scene, then at Zenithra, and at the blade that had been in their hand. What did you... Why? Zenithra's mouth opened, but no words came. How could they explain? How could they make Lux understand? How much trouble were they in? They knew that Lux was a judge and that there were new rules in Solace, but what would happen to them? Would they have to kill again to be free? Would they have to never relax again and never trust the people next to them? You can always trust me, my child. Doing that in front of Lux. Maybe Lux is chill. Getting caught by CBS. New Oliver lore sheet. Let's go. Oh my god, I can't read this. I can kind of read it. I grew up entirely in the ocean in a kingdom called Telamapoa. My kingdom was filled with aquatic minor predator and prey selkies. This is really like low resolution. By minor predators, I mean that they just ate fish. There were no fish selkies. The aquatic selkies spent most of the time in the water, except for if they needed air. However, there were exceptions such as reptilian selkies. These exceptions led to crossbreeds and being cousins with people not within your species, such as Frog and Feather being my cousins. There were also creatures known as cryptids, selkies who had totally rejected their skins while they could live normal lives. A lot of the cryptids were also fairly dangerous. One day I met an orca selkie named Pharos, and we were a couple for around 2 years. We met in secret as orcas were one of the carnivorous selkie species. As a very dumb decision, Pharos wanted to meet my mother, and I said yes. I snuck Pharos into my house thinking that we got away with it, but my mother immediately called for help, not even bothering to hear me out. Pharos was ripped away from me, and I was banished from the kingdom. I like to think that Pharos is still alive, but between that they could have killed him right then, and the great anomaly, he probably wasn't. After this, I traveled to land and lived on the coast for a bit. I traveled into town occasionally and met a very nice lady who sold bread. She became like a mother to me. One day, as I was sun-tanning on the beach. By the way, I recommend lore sheets are supposed to be like basic, hey, this is my character, and they like to have fun, and they used to live on this planet. The end. Please just, this should be a Lore Tuesday entry. Intro to Oliver. This is way too much information for a lore sheet. One day I was sunbathing on the beach. A cryptid captured me and brought me to his home. He wanted to show me off to all the other cryptids who had never seen a seal selkie before. There was a law that prevented the harboring of selkies by cryptids, so he forced me to sign a paper that announced our hands in marriage. Therefore, it was not considered harboring. He then put me in a tube tank with wheels and would bring me onto stages and do tricks for the audience and would tell them all the facts he knew about my species, learning more as he experimented on me. Eventually he got an idea how long a selkie could last without their coat before they became a cryptid, and if they could turn back into a selkie if given their coat back. He took my coat for 2.5 months. I was dehydrated and could feel these painful bumps shoving through my head. I couldn't do it anymore. I freaked out. The next thing I knew, the man was laying on the floor and I had blood dripping from my mouth. I found my selkie coat, threw it on, and booked it. As I ran out into town, I realized it was eerily quiet. I wandered around for a bit, eventually getting the information the great anomaly had happened. I got the news of Solace and went searching for a ship. Feeling better now that I had my coat back and the bumps were no longer there. I found a ship loaded with supplies and thought, regret it. Though I regret it, I stole the ship. Through a long travel, I reached Solace, crashing and immediately seeing a clown person who led me to the circus I now work in today. A few days after that, I ran into another ship that had crashed and met my now best friend, Lucky. Very cool, but It was from a doc last second. It's going to be edited and shortened down. Yeah, definitely. You don't have to get these in like on Lore Tuesday. You can put them other days. But yeah. Cool lore. Shorten it down for your lore sheet. Alright, we are going to watch Frog's video and end it here. My throat is killing me. Alright, thank you everyone for coming to another faction meeting. It's good to see more people here than usual, I think. At least more people on this side. Recently, there was a hurricane that came through. It doesn't look like it's damaged too much. Maybe, I don't know if Waters wants to give an update on that at all. But I was able to slow it down at the end so it didn't damage the Keepers of Solace area too much. We were able to evacuate most people to the Arcturus land. And yeah, I haven't gotten a report from Waters at all, so maybe he wants to give an update on that. But
yeah, I can speak on this.
oh yeah, go ahead.
On this latest Wednesday, a hurricane did pass through, going from the Moontouch Kingdom to hitting a bit of Pendlegrim, and then towards Lilac, and then stopping at here, Keepers of Solace. It did not reach all the way to Keepers of Solace, so that's why you maybe will not be seeing extra damage. You did manage to stop that on that time. There was a landslide in Riverside that is currently in the process of being repaired and managed as best we can. It's mostly monitoring if more of the terrain will fall or collapse at any point. Most of the damages that have been occurring are fallen trees that have been collapsed, and some flooding, but most of the time we have found that it has not done too significant damage. It was not a category 4 or 5, so we don't have to worry about buildings being missing. That is one of the things. There might be some structures that have a tree fallen on them, or things where like shingles have been pulled off of roofs, those kind of things, but not really anything too massive that I should be aware of. If not, I'm still looking into finding all these locations, and if there is any location you have noticed to have impact from the hurricane, please report it to me so I can add it to my official report. But I do have a report that I have already delivered to most people. I assume you guys haven't noticed it yet. In this information, the document, it states that the wind speed that started the hurricane was 120 miles per hour. That is a lot, but not as much as it could have been. Precipitation, 80%, there was a lot of rain. And we had a bit of storm surge, 10 feet above normal tide, and that created the flooding, most of it. For the most part, everything seems to be fine. Things are cooling down, the weather is not. Well, obviously it's raining now, but that's not really anything to be concerned about greatly. It's not a hurricane, it's not a thunderstorm, so we are okay. That is my report.
Awesome. Thank you, Waters. And I think you did actually give me a report. I just haven't looked at it yet because I don't think anything too bad happened. So I usually read all the stuff that goes into my inbox after faction meetings. I don't think there's anything important coming up. There haven't been any more kidnappings or people gone missing since the safety protocols. So I think I count that as a success. Yeah, does anyone have anything to announce? Died.
My back's healed.
Your
That's
back's
like-
healed.
Yeah,
What happened to your back?
I broke it.
Oh,
You broke
I
it.
how
think.
did you?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad your back's okay. I hope you went to the hospital. What? Why am I
I
looking all around?
not.
I remember you said that you were going to do baking classes. When is
the
that
last
gonna
thing in
happen?
Lord. Oh yeah, I was thinking of doing that this weekend, but I got busy with the dance lessons and other stuff. We could do it this week, maybe. If no one else has anything to say, then. When did I do that? Did I do that? When we pretend. It's killing me. can imagine. Where he's like, alright, bye guys. Just confusing the fuck out of everyone. Violence being back there is crazy, by the way. Weird low point.
Waters?
Yeah?
I heard that there was, like, flooding in the Lilac area, and we gotta check out my house.
Yeah, that...
By the way, if Violence was really there, Freya absolutely would have noticed him.
I can't admit that it might do that. Disintegrate me. Yeah, we can do it.
Okay, let's go.
I just realized, Nix, my house was in the crossfire.
Oh.
Not my house, the
Oh.
tavern.
You wanna go check out their house too?
I guess that means your rent will probably go down.
Oh, okay. I can work with that.
Yeah, but it's also you have to pay for fixing that.
Me and Waters are gonna go in that same direction. Do you guys wanna get that inspected?
Sure.
Sure.
Oh no.
If I have the funds, I could probably also provide repairing that in some place.
No, I got the money.
Alright.
Doesn't sound confident.
Mm.
Okay. I think let's start walking.
Yeah.
Hi, Vilios.
Hi.
No.
Oh.
Was that necessary?
Yes.
That's so funny.
I'll just drown.
Is this? Nick.
This is off map.
Nick's what is? Oh,
This
from
is
the.
F.
That is. Okay. Okay.
You need to go fix. You need to fix that.
Did the flood do that?
Most likely.
Hinting at him getting
Path.
upgrades.
The whole chunk of your path is gone.
That's a problem for later.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll add it to the report then, I guess.
There's barrels.
Oh, okay,
in the
there's
water.
barrels.
Okay, that's a lot.
Oh.
I would feel like the cave would get considerably more of the water risk. Because your town runs up the mountain, up the hill, so... But that could be a landslide.
Philip, get on my head. I'll carry you.
Oh.
Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go. Avoid the barrels. Oh, my boats got pushed around.
I mean, at least the outside looks decent.
Oh, there's a note. Okay, I'll just
what does
read
it
this
say?
note later. I'll read it
Mhm.
later.
Oh, okay.
Didn't want your house to
We
go
can fix
small.
this.
It's not as bad as I expected it to be, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like you barricaded the basement. So
This
want me to
wasn't
check
me.
up? Okay, I'll check.
Oh.
I'll check the basement. Okay.
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 It looks like as if somebody took the effort to make sure that this place would be safe from the water. That was not you?
No.
Okay.
Should we check on Master Frogside and the others?
What?
I have
What?
three
Oh, yeah,
frog
Sensei.
friends.
Oh.
Yeah, I used to be able to hear them. I can't anymore.
Creepy noise.
Oh, there's no outside damage. Oh, they're animals right
Yeah,
here.
and at least Buckley. Okay, Toby, Jerry, Drax. Okay, you seem healthy.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The inside is a very different Why is there? You left. There's a horse behind.
Oh, God.
Let me go help that horse.
Where did this come in from?
Okay, there's a problem. There is a basement, and I'm scared about that. Rotwood lives in the basement.
I don't think so
Oh
anymore.
my gosh!
The chicken is drowning. Mo-
Can you save that chicken?
Oh, it's working! Oh my gosh!
That's what chicks can ask you.
Chicken is fighting back.
The chicken doesn't want to leave.
Only someone had a lead.
Come here, Chicky. Come on, Chicky.
It's like the water is flowing towards the back of the room.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
The image in my mind of like Waters like fighting to get a chicken to go back onto land, and the chicken just being like.
Okay.
Well, thank
Someone
you
needs
for
to
saving
draw
this
that.
poor little innocent chicken. The chicken is gonna get back in there. No!
No.
Get back over here.
Get out, chicken.
Okay, I can swim. It's okay. Okay, let's move away from here. This chicken really likes it
Yeah,
over
this
there.
chicken really likes the water.
How much money do you think this is gonna take me to
Damages?
fix?
It's hard to estimate that with the system that exists on Solus, value and currency. Materials, this is wood damage. Might put you back like 20, 30 diamonds.
I can do that. Actually, that's not bad.
The flooding on the stone. That's different. That requires draining it manually, but that's someone who would go and do that.
I forgot that foxes hunt chickens.
Toby!
No!
I am so sorry.
Oh no.
I mean, survival of the fittest. Waters, Frog. Philip, can you be witnesses to this?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. The building is yours.
Yippee!
Well,
You have a
Let's
damaged
go.
building.
You should have haggled, bro.
Yeah, for real.
No haggling.
Congratulations.
yeah, I won't regret this.
I'll head back to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Waters, for checking out our buildings and stuff.
Thank you, Waters.
Thank you, Waters.
Yeah, does somebody have to walk me back?
I'll do it.
And you and me, Feather, we can drop Nyx off at. I know
Like,
your house
right
is
next
here,
door.
but like. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, Waters. My door is broken.
Oh,
It is
oh my
broken.
god! Your door is broken.
Fiddle with the handle, bro. That
Why
thing
is it
is
so- Oh my god, your door is broken.
jiggly.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess.
Why is it called Egg Dispenser 9000? It's like calling your mom Child Dispenser 9000.
Guess it's loose, but why are you having me inspect your door? I'm a weather guy. I don't.
You're the only person that I can think of.
Right. Because security, I'm not. Okay. Yeah, it's wiggly. I don't have tools to fix this wiggliness.
Oh.
I'm not a repairman. Maybe I can talk to Cam. Maybe he'll have a better idea. Yeah. I mean, he's local here, so if he has anything nearby, it'll be... Yeah.
Okay. Another reason why I'm telling you this is because a certain little clown broke the door, and I don't know what else to
The
do.
door is broken.
So the door opens normally, it's just loose.
Right, yeah. Okay. He broke the door down, is what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Did he to report it.
Okay. I told him I wouldn't, and because I was scared. But I should have.
I don't care about him. If it's me reporting, you do not have to worry.
Okay.
I will deal with whatever he brings to me. So if he does try to come after you, call me. Okay?
Okay. He also
Hit the
broke
panic
my,
button on
like,
your comm
hotel
device.
door.
Great. Okay, yeah. Show me that too.
But yeah. I know he's a robot and he can do like weird stuff, but like that thing is barely clinging to the hinges.
Yeah, there's practically panels hanging off. Who runs the hotel? Did you not inform?
I tried. I really did try. I didn't get an answer for a really long time, so that's why I went to you. I know you can't fix these things. I just didn't know who to go to.
Yeah, there are multiple things that can go with this. A legal dispute. In fact, the hotel has not done anything to maintain your safety, and also has not done anything to maintain the state of of this place. Okay, I will do something about this.
Thank you a lot for coming over here and checking it out, even though that's not in your job description. But
yeah, it's fine. It is good that you got a member of the Keepers of Souls. I am still department head. I am still the authority to do something about this. And this has happened within the Keepers of Souls domain, so it is important and good that you did contact me. Do not feel worried about that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Alright, I will get somebody on this.
Okay. Are you okay to walk out by yourself? Do you need somebody to walk with you?
I should be fine. I'll contact Light, and she can pick me up.
Light?
Oh.
Is Light, like, that?
She
Okay.
is back.
Okay, so what I saw wasn't a hallucination. Okay. Okay, that's way better than what I thought it was.
Oh.
I saw Light.
She is alive. I think. Mostly.
Mostly?
She's heavily injured. Visibly.
Oh.
She's fine.
Okay. Okay, send her a hug from me or something.
I will let you know, yeah.
Okay.
Frog's like, touchy
Bye-bye.
subject. Awkward.
Waters, I'm back.
Bye.
Thank you for saving me.
Yeah.
I was so thirsty.
Yeah.
Thank you for saving me. I was so thirsty. Alright, that was great. What a great Lord Tuesday. Alright. Is there anything coming up in lore? If you're in the staff, we're thinking of stuff, or maybe like, I don't know if anyone else has ideas too. We're trying to think of fun things to do for Valentine's Day. If you got any fun ideas for that? Was violence in that one? I mean, it's in like the background of the faction meeting or whatever, but was he somewhere else? That's scary. I didn't even see. 6 scenes? Gosh. Yeah, I did not notice. Well, I will, I'm gonna, if you, have anything to write in the document that I put in, I think, lore discussion, up here, just scroll up a little bit. Hospital lore summary. This will help Virgil a lot with forming his case against Magos. If you want to be a witness, do that. Hi, Cece. If you are happy and you know it, clap your hands. I'm gonna have Freya's baking class sometime this week. I gotta write that down. And I will make another thing, if you want, like, your character to have a specific song in the background of Lore Tuesday, or when I'm reading, we can do that. Has to be something that is stream safe, of course. But yeah. Cool. I will see you all Sunday for the faction meeting. Toodaloo.